Mr. Young and Foreign.
Kick to the gut!
Kick to the gut.
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 Kick to the gut. Kick to the gut.
Kick to the gut.
Hey, kick to the gut.
Kick to the gut.
Kick to the gut podcast.
Kick to the gut podcast.
Kick to the gut.
Your podcast sucks!
And once again, we are here for you, your dynamic duo. We are here to talk wrestling. And Foreign, I have to say this right off the bat. I am a sleepy, grouchy boy today and this weekend. So it's gonna be a spicy one. Let me tell you, it's Mr. Young.
And it's Foreign in the building, bro. I'm ready as well. I've got a lot of thoughts, a lot of deep thoughts.
Are you
a
a cowboy? No, you're not a cowboy. Okay. So, hey, Div Royalty, how you doing, by the way? Div Royalty says the intro of our show really makes her miss local wrestling. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, we look at all these overseas big events, right? And how crowds are gathering for SummerSlam, for NXT, for AEW Rampage and whatnot. And it's like, wow, maybe one day we'll get back there. And then you realize there could still be an issue with super spreader events. Did you hear about Euro 2020 being a super spreader event? The final.
And like which locations?
The final, actually all across all the different matches, by the way, like 9,000 cases attributed to the Euros.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like people want to weigh the pros and cons of it or what? Like, okay, you can go, but you know that there is this danger if you were to go.
Yes, and let's face it, like they are all asked to please put on your mask. Please, when you're in the moment, you're like, your favorite, team scores the goal, you're gonna take on your mask. You know what I mean? You're gonna be relaxed.
If you're chanting for like CM Punk and then like your mouth is it doesn't make sense. I understand, right?
Exactly right. So yeah, you're right. Weigh the pros and cons. But we here in Singapore are a little bit more what's the word? Conservative. No, play it safe. We want to be safe. So
cautious.
Yeah, cautious. It will be back soon, and we are definitely going to be there for it. Let me say hi to everybody who's just dropping by the chat. By the way, Rishi, what's up? You're ready for the podcast? We are too. Jason, what's up? We got the Trickster in the house. What's up, Nicholas?
Hello.
Nicholas is going CM Punk. And Anthony PR says, when will John Cena wear the Peacemaker costume in a match? That one might have to get the rights for the movie, to show up on TV with that.
Maybe when he's promoting the Peacemaker on HBO, I think he'll do another return. We shall see.
Maybe, yeah. Then again, wasn't it weird that they were advertising for the Suicide Squad on both AEW and on WWE TV? Did you notice?
Yeah. I saw it, bro. I mean, it's so weird. It's like John Cena has been away from wrestling, but he's never really been away from our life. Mm-hmm. In fact, I feel I have been given more John Cena content in the last couple of years than when he was in wrestling.
I mean, kudos to him. He's finally making it in Hollywood in a big way, right? The same can be said about The Rock as well. Oh, let's give a shout out to Sir Hus Pro. What's up, dude?
Hello, Sir Who's Pro. Appreciate you guys. Hey, some new people coming in on the chat as well.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate that.
Hey, everyone wants to talk about this week in pro wrestling. Arguably the hottest weekend, maybe even. Could you say that? In pro wrestling?
Hottest weekend of this year, easily. Biggest moment of the last decade, possibly. Arguable.
But, okay. I want to pour a dampener on this right now. I'm going to be that guy, bro. I'm going to pour some cold water on your heat right now, bro. You know what I'm going to say?
Let's do it.
I'm going to say,
Mr. Young.
this only highlights that pro wrestling hasn't been able to build a bona fide superstar in a long time. Agree?
Yeah,
Disagree? Yeah? Like, just looking at all the big moments of this year, they've all been from returning superstars. There hasn't been a big moment, and when we talk about SummerSlam, oh my God, okay. Don't get actually, you know what? You will get me started because we are going to go into it. But when we talk about SummerSlam, it is most evident in WWE. You know me, I love my WWE, but they have a problem right now.
Yeah, they you know what's the biggest problem that they have, and you're right. It's not the fact that there's returning stars. Returning stars, of course, will always get the pop. You will always get the fans, right? The problem is they are not sustaining these new stars. They are sweeping the rug under their feet.
Yeah, it's like, we have this person or this person. Okay lah, never mind. Let them, pop the crowd. As opposed to having new stars finding that groove, getting in their lane and, building them up. So, I think we will go on a case-by-case basis once we jump into the card. Case-by-case basis.
Are we going to have a AAR after-action review of this weekend?
I think so. Let me very quickly say thank you so much for hanging out on the live stream. If for whatever reason you need to duck out for lunch or whatnot, right? Don't forget, you can always watch the video on demand after we finish the live podcast. Or you can listen if you want to just listen and don't want to see our face. That's fine. We get it, All the beauty lights in the world are not... I can't see me, right? All the beauty lights in the world are not going to distract, take away from our ugly faces. Except for Foreign's beautiful eyebrows, lah. That one you can go and
no, it's all good. It's all
admire.
good. But one thing I really want to say though is that I really enjoy the chatter this weekend.
Oh yeah.
To everyone who
Lots of...
interacted with us on the on our Instagram page, everyone who DM us. I think what's great about wrestling when it's this kind of exciting and like very mainstream is you feel like this huge community,
And I would like to say that thanks to AEW being the alternative, all of a sudden there can be this like, oh shit, who's gonna show up where? So it's not exactly the Monday Night Wars, it's not exactly WCW, WWE, but hey, give it a year, give it 2 years, I think we might be there. And very quickly, let me mention also, listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Just download, look for Kick to the Gut. Okay.
Of course, let's get started, bro. We gotta start with the main thing. Let's follow a chronological order, bro.
Sure. Let's talk about AEW Rampage. And you know what I love about the man who showed up? I respect the fact that he had enough balls to retain his name and his music. Because the second the music hit and it's like, oh shit, you know who it is. And how many wrestlers, okay, maybe you want to say he was just very selfish, very into himself, that he's like, no, I have to retain control. But you have to respect the fact that he had the balls to pull that shit with the WWE, that he can own the rights to his name and his music.
Yeah. And I'm very curious, bro. Actually, I'm very curious to hear your opinion of this breakdown of CM Punk's return, because you've already prefaced it last week by saying that you didn't watch wrestling when CM Punk was hot.
Yep.
So I want to see through your eyes, bro. This new guy that you heard so much about.
Yeah.
How was your impression of him and his return?
Well, to be fair, I did watch him while he was still like, straight edge society, just before he dropped the pipe bomb, right? And here's the thing. He was always a good promo. I think with time he's gotten better at promo, right? And the crowd, I mean, it's his crowd, so it was just off the chain, right? So I love the return, The thing is though, like, what is he going to add to his character? What is this new wrinkle? What is this new thing? Because like I said, and I'll say it again, the whole dropping pipe bomb, breaking fourth wall, breaking kayfabe thing, that was new then. He did it in the WWE. And I love how he's like, I didn't do pro wrestling in 2011. Obviously a veiled sort of stab at sports entertainment, right? We get it. here's the thing. If he did the pipe bomb in the Indies or ROH or TNA, it wouldn't have been a big deal. So at the end of the day, we must realize, and I'm sure he realizes it, but he's just playing up the character. He owes his success to the WWE. There's no arguing that, right? The WWE, despite what he wants to say, still made him.
Yep, I agree. I agree, definitely agree. But one thing I realized about CM Punk though is that he is the kind of guy, he's like remember when Roman Reigns came out with this quote a couple of days ago saying that he never moved the needle as much as a Rock or he never was as over as John Cena, right?
Yes.
And I agree to a certain extent, but I think that's the thing that makes him his own entity.
Yep.
Like I feel like he is like, I give you the best analogy I've come up with. I've thought long and hard about it over the weekend. CM Punk, right, is like the Pied Piper, bro.
The Pied Piper. Okay.
Okay, stay with me because right, he beats to his own drum. You know, he is, when you talk about Kool-Aid in ECW, I think he's a Kool-Aid maker. You know,
Yeah.
And one thing you can't deny, even though he might not move a needle, even though that is debatable with whatever happened this past weekend, he is an innovator. So one thing I trust about him, right, is that everything that he does, right, seems to be this genuine need to, I've got to be myself through it all, even if it's against the grain. So when he made that return and he was saying about, I understand those that was disappointed in me. And that was a very powerful moment when he said, if you understand that I had to get away from the place that made me sick. So that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, he does still love pro wrestling. He just fell out of love with it.
Yeah. My only issue, and I believe I've brought this up many times, is now that he's inspired a whole new generation of kayfabe breaking style indie wrestlers, he's no longer unique. Right? So how can he stand out, especially in this company where everybody is, you know, you got the Young Bucks doing the Rick Rude thing and they're often trying to break kayfabe. So how can he stand out? How can he, once again, innovate, you know, add that new thing to his character? We'll have to wait and see. I mean, there's no doubt that he's going to bring eyeballs and he's a solid promo, solid worker. I'm excited because if anything, it makes both shows now must-watch TV, right?
Yeah, of course. The best thing I heard over the weekend, bro, I've always got to go back to Jim Cornette, bro. You know, Jim Cornette already reviewed that moment on Rampage. And this was his exact words. He opened up the whole episode by saying that this is it wasn't what I could have I could have done it this way. It wasn't what I would have done. It was so much better. It was perfect.
Nice.
Well, then I was like, okay, Jim Cornette just praised a segment in AEW and he acknowledged it. He's saying that, yes, I know this is AEW, but all of that was real pro wrestling emotion.
No, it was. Yeah, 100%. Like CM Punk has the ability, like you said, to, you know, give out the Kool-Aid and have everybody drink it. And he had that crowd eating out of his palm.
Yeah. Talking about Kool-Aid and drinking and eating, those ice cream bars made a return as well. I'm so happy for the people at Chicago.
I think it was a Chicago thing. They just like, oh, okay, like let's promo a bit together, CM Punk, and that was a cool thing, yes. But the rest of Rampage was totally forgettable, by the way.
Oh well, I don't even want to talk about the rest. I want to talk about more about the CM Punk. Did you watch the media scrum afterwards?
No, I did not.
1 hour
No.
post media. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna give you a few notes
pointers
from that because CM Punk and Tony Khan sat down and talked to some various sports journalists about the return and what does it all mean. Talk about what kind of deal it is. So he did emphasize that it's gonna be a full-time contract.
Okay.
He did emphasize that he came out with a list of people that he wanted to work with. And he off the bat he said he wants to work with Darby Allin, he wants to work with MJF, Ricky Starks, Will Hobbs. He wants to work with, as he says, Pillman's kid. I want to work with Pillman's kid.
Yes.
So I think it ties down to what he said on the promo where he wished there was all this young talent 10 years ago in WWE, right?
Well, to be fair, there probably were young talent. The writers just didn't know how to book them.
Correct. And I felt that maybe he treats AEW like this blank canvas where he has this creative control and he has this young talent that he wants to push. And I think one thing I appreciate about his promo was, even though it was about him, but he started the promo putting over Britt Baker. He ended the promo calling out Darby Allin. So he had that in mind.
Interesting that his first feud is going to be against a fellow face. So I don't know where they're going to go with it. I guess, you know, he will know how to figure it out lah. Him being the veteran and everything. And plus they got Sting as well. So it should be interesting to see where this goes.
A lot of people asking me, is he going to have a face-to-face promo with Colt Cabana or not?
Oh yeah, they had a falling out, right?
Yeah, a very public falling out, and they sued each other.
Yes.
So that question was asked in the scrum.
Yeah.
They were saying that when you said that you're going to settle some scores, is there someone in the locker room that you wanna that you have reached out to, or is this something that's going to happen over the next couple of weeks? And CM Punk being CM Punk saying that, today was such a positive day. I don't want to talk about anything that dampens the mood.
Lol.
So he called it out, the reporter. He was saying that, since you're the one trying to dampen the mood, I don't think I should answer this question.
I mean, there you go. He knows how to get a headline. And so does Roman Reigns. When Roman Reigns, dropped that quote about, CM Punk doesn't know how to, or he can't move the needle, blah, 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 that kind of thing, right? The thing is, okay, like I would liken CM Punk to like a Kurt Angle or Chris Benoit or Eddie Guerrero, in that they are always going to be legends in the wrestling business, but not outside the wrestling business. As in, I don't think most people, he tried the whole MMA thing. It didn't work for him at all, right? So in that sense, yes, Roman was right. He's not going to be moving any needle outside of pro wrestling.
What I think he can do right now is to create a legacy for AEW going forward. So because he's kind of, not say over the hill, but he's a bit older. So it's not as if he's going to have like a 15-year run, right?
Yeah.
But I think what he can do is establish AEW so that for future generation, people know, this is the start of AEW, where there's the CM Punks all coming in, Chris Jericho's all coming to establish them. So that's great.
Jason says, does anyone need a wrestling break? I do. I do too. Like I said, I'm a very grouchy man, grouchy boy, if anything, because of Sunday morning, okay? The thing is, there is no break because tomorrow it's Monday Night Raw, and then we're back to NXT, Dynamite. Like, holy crap, that's a lot of wrestling.
Did you like the fact, I know it's Sunday morning, they had to wake up, but do you like the fact that it was a Sunday morning where it was kind of more like it's chill as compared to a Monday morning where it's a work day? How was the experience for you?
I enjoyed that. Yes, I didn't have to worry about work, but I also didn't enjoy the fact that SummerSlam was SummerSlam. Anyway, we're going to get to that, okay? We're going to get to that. Div Royalty mentions that the ice cream bars were a promise from 7 years ago. He really did pay for all of them.
That's nice.
Rishi brings up a good point. And to what you just said there, Foreign, Rishi wonders if CM Punk is here to put over new talent or go on a monster main event run on his own. I would like to think that he's here to put over new talent.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing for him. But he did entertain the talk of like whether he want to face Kenny Omega. Yeah, he was asked the question: is he gonna follow the Forbidden Door and wrestle in the G1 Classic, go New Japan, go all this place? Then he said that at this point in time, he's an AEW guy. He's a TNT guy. So he's just dipping his toes in the water. Don't expect him to swim in this ocean of possibilities just yet. He did say that, if you want to talk about main eventers that he wants to wrestle with, the Kenny Omegas and all that, right? He said, I do want to wrestle a John Moxley. I'm pretty sure I haven't wrestled a John Moxley before.
Oh, talking about John Moxley, he was in the main event of Rampage that nobody gave a fuck about.
Danny Garcia. Okay lah.
Let's talk about... It was like pointless. I was like, it's a squash match. What am I watching? WWE Superstars main event?
Essentially, right, if CM Punk went the entire hour of Rampage, no one would bother. There was one match of consequence, and that was the Jurassic Express versus the Private Party. Like, Jurassic Express looked like they are on the way to qualifying to becoming the number one contenders for the tag team titles, right? That was the only thing of consequence. But the rest of it was like, no need to watch. You can switch off after the CM Punk thing, to be honest. Yeah, that's true. One thing I realized that they seem to be pushing the four main faces at the end of the show that stood tall. Seem to be Moxley, Kingston, Sting, and Darby Allin. This seems to be like the faces going forward.
Yeah, the upper mid card faces. Yeah.
Well, the true and tested main event guy is apparently on his maternity or paternity break.
Well,
so.
I wouldn't even say he is the true and tested, the up and coming. Like, I would like for him to have a feud with CM Punk, and then CM Punk can elevate him a little bit more. You know, if anything, CM Punk can be that guy that puts people in the position to become a main event guy, right?
Yeah. When you talk about what CM Punk can do to, like, you know, in this second run, right? I think he should. There's no one else that he needs to see or use as a guide better than Shawn Michaels on his second run.
But don't you think he needs to have a dominating run on his own first, just to establish himself before he starts putting over young talent? I'm just a bit worried. Like, you know, okay, for example, like if let's say I were a new viewer and I just started watching, I don't really have that connection. In fact, I don't have that connection to CM Punk, right?
Yep.
If he starts losing to Darby Allin, he starts losing to all these people he wants to put over. Yeah, I get the history, but I don't feel the rub. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the thing about CM Punk, which I feel that he has more than other people, is he got this stone cold stubbornness about him.
Yeah.
I don't think, right, he's gonna put people over just for the sake of putting people over without getting some rub on himself. So I think there's a bit of that old school in him.
Sure.
Yeah, so don't worry. I think he will still, even when he fights Darby Allin, I think he'll still win. And Darby Allin will look great in defeat. That's the main point of it all. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on then from the big, arguably, I think for a lot of jaded fans, that was the biggest news out of pro wrestling, right?
I mean, bro,
weekend.
just look at the photo I posted, man, on IG, that me in my CM Punk shirt.
Right.
Fucking kid. Yeah, so, you know, we are happy. So
There you go. Let's move on then to Sunday morning. I think a lot of people, especially here in Asia, this part of the world, enjoy the fact that, Sunday morning you can relax, maybe order McDonald's breakfast and watch SummerSlam, right? And
Which
not worry.
I did
You
order
did?
McDonald's breakfast.
Bro.
How you know, bro?
It's just, you know, it's just things people
it's a
do.
Singaporean thing.
Yeah, it's a Singaporean thing, right? So here, okay, I'll just say it off the bat. Like, I got ultra grumpy at the end of SummerSlam because I didn't enjoy SummerSlam that much. I enjoyed the big moments, but I felt like they were just banking on the moments, and the rest of the card was just anyhow.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It was very middle of the road for me, to be honest.
Okay. Chat, by the way, drop us your number score right now of SummerSlam as we go through it, right? Upon 10, what do you give SummerSlam? I'll say it right now. I'll give it a 6. Even with all the big surprises and returns, I give it a 6.
I would say, yeah, you know what? I will agree with you, 6, because I feel like the big moments they delivered, but there were some big moments that I think was a bit fucked up, like it was screwed up, Becky Lynch, you know.
Wow, yeah, the big
example.
moments were Instagram moments, and the rest of the card was just, you know what I mean? Anyway, let's get to it then. Did you watch the pre-show? I did not watch the pre-show.
Yeah, I had it on the background, so I am aware that Big Show versus Big Show, but like Baron Corbin versus Big E.
Wait, speaking of Big Show, hang on. I love that you brought up Big Show, but Big Show is gonna freaking fight QT Marshall. Okay, what? No, bro. Why? Who cares?
This is me doing a QT Marshall's reaction.
Okay, anyway, I don't want to talk about that because that's just a waste of time right now. Yeah, a lot of people say 6, maybe 7. WrestleMania, Money in the Bank was better. Money in the Bank, I think coming off the whole pandemic thing, full arena, the vibe was there. And I think Money in the Bank was so good because of the promise it held for young talent, which we will see. They are like, nope, forget about that. We'll just give it all to the old people at SummerSlam. Here we go then. So, okay, what is it about, first impressions, right? What is it about this arena? Because it looked damn small and cramped. It reminded me of Madison Square Garden. Like, the ramp is super close to the audience. There was no stage. And I don't know if that's why there was no pyro, because there was no pyro.
Funny that you mentioned that it's small, because it's supposed to be in a stadium, an NFL stadium, 50,000 capacity though. But I think just the way they arranged it.
Yeah. So, okay, but why, like usually these big events, they'll have fireworks. Why were there no fireworks, no pyro, nothing?
Yeah, because I believe that they were trying to squeeze as many people in as possible. They took away the big stage. You know, usually when they have a huge stage, right, it will take out one part of the stadium.
Yeah.
And like there won't be seats there, right? So they lose people in terms of seats. But I feel like maybe they're trying to cram it over capacity. Then the people are so near the stage. I don't think it's safe to even have pyro unless they do pyro on the rooftop, which I don't think they have the logistical ability to do it in this particular stadium.
I wonder if the stadium wanted them to use less space and, you know, pack more people in to make money because, they need to make money like at this point. That it's a whole business after all these stadiums, right?
Yeah. And the reason is they wanted it to be like a big like coming out party post-pandemic, cram as many people as possible. And I kind of find, I think they're going for a bit of like a UFC vibe where it was really more about the people showing how big it is instead of like with all the pyro and razzmatazz.
It was an interesting look to say the least because you expect SummerSlam. It was supposed to be WrestleMania, like because of the pandemic, right? So this was the big show, and then there weren't like the giant pyro, fireworks, stuff like that. I guess, you know, we are into
Did it feel like a Crown Jewel house show, bro?
Oh, no, my God. Crown Jewel will blow them out of the water. Hey, speaking of Crown Jewel, it's back in October. So I guess we'll get to see our fireworks over there because, you know, them Saudis, they love their fireworks, right?
Yeah.
Spectacles and stuff like that. Let's get down to the matches then. First match, RK Bro versus AJ Styles and Omos. This is, I think, the first time we're seeing Omos start taking damage, right? And it makes sense. You know, you got two veterans in there. Matt Riddle is not small by any stretch of the imagination. It was a fun match to start the night.
It was the right decision.
Yeah.
I think it was the right match to start the night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, AJ, Randy, and Riddle are stars. You notice who I didn't mention. Because, I'm sorry, but Omos just still is a lumbering giant. Like, in the vein, not in the vein of Braun Strowman, but in the vein of Giant Gonzalez. But better than Giant Gonzalez.
He you know what he's devoid of, bro?
What?
Personality.
Yes.
It will take time, like, it will take time.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, here to be fair. This time last year, he was a ninja with Akira Tozawa, right?
Right. Or he was just randomly showing up in Raw Underground.
Yeah, but one thing I am very if you watch the Broken Skull sessions with Kevin Nash, Kevin Nash is mentoring him.
Oh,
so
no wonder no wrestling ability. That makes sense.
maybe he's good at booking, bro. You never know.
Okay, just the tall dude. That's what the trickster says. Here's the thing, and I hate that I'm fast forwarding, but the style he wrestles, and maybe you want to call it the main event style of WWE, right? It doesn't suit a big man. A big man should wrestle like Walter. That's all I'll say because I don't want to jump into TakeOver's territory here. He just like he know what I'm saying. Like he's just a spectacle.
He's working Great Khali style 2007.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like no, like I'm not really into that. Like maybe he just like you have to see him live and you're like holy shit, this motherfucker huge, right? But the setup I remember for the end was very, very obvious for the RKO. It was not out of nowhere, which I was a bit like bummed out about. But the match was a fun match. RKO Bro win as they should because they have the momentum right now, right?
Yeah, they are the hottest so-called tag team duo in on Raw, and them winning the titles, I think it feels good. And do you hear what they said in the interview with Mario Lopez?
What did they say?
Riddle said that he's promising a surprise for Randy, right?
Yeah. You know, okay, this is what makes Riddle good. He is best when he's paired up with a straight-laced, no-nonsense type. That to juxtapose his stoner nonsense, right? Like it worked for him and Pete Dunne, and arguably working better for him now with Randy Orton.
Yeah, and if NXT does that, right? If they experiment with little things and then it works, and then
I mean, a lot of time the problem with main roster writers is that they like ignore what they did in NXT. That we're gonna put our own spin on you, and it's a bag of shit. Can we say Keith Lee? Can we say Karrion Kross? Anyway, let's move on. Great match to start the night, and ladies and gentlemen, we are now going downhill from here. Okay, and this is what this is what bothered me the most because like I'm bright and awake and like fresh. I'm all right. I'm excited to watch some wrestling, you know. And then we get Eva Marie and Doudrop versus Alexa Bliss and Lily.
A bit tough lah. A bit tough for this to be. Okay, the good news is it came out very, very early. It was relatively painful, but it was like 5 minutes. So, but the problem, yeah.
It didn't seem like it was 5 minutes. It seemed long. Like, you know how some matches, they are so good that it feels like it's very fast, but actually it was quite long. This one was short, but it felt damn long. Because it was like, you know how I love Alexa Bliss, right? We all love Alexa Bliss. Lily needs to go away. Eva Marie is not working. The whole promise of, remember the whole like, oh, she's going to be this mega heel. She's a heat magnet. This whole thing was bullshit to begin with. And let's not forget Doudrop, right? Like, the second time Doudrop showed up on Raw, she already like showed signs of wanting to turn on Eva Marie. So I'm like, where the hell are they going with this? Like, who's booking this shit?
Is it me or Eva Marie just confirmed in this match that she can't wrestle?
Oh, well, we knew that. But she was not here to wrestle. Doudrop was supposed to wrestle. But Doudrop has already turned on Eva Marie, which is like, shouldn't she turn on her down the road?
Yeah. The thing about it was, I was watching the match and I could literally see Eva Marie looking back, looking at Alexa Bliss, like waiting for instructions, bro.
Yeah, but dude, like, this doesn't make any sense. This whole booking of Eva Marie and Doudrop makes no sense. Wasn't the whole idea, or logically, like, you know, maybe I'm trying to armchair book or whatever, but isn't the point Doudrop do all the hard work, Eva Marie take all the credit? That is a very simple story to craft, right? And then
I would rather watch Alexa Bliss versus Doudrop at SummerSlam.
Yeah, exactly.
With Eva Marie at the side.
And this whole match, did Doudrop even wrestle once?
She's wrestled once before, but she's never been in a one-on-one match.
In this match, in SummerSlam, did she even get into one move with Alexa Bliss? I don't think so. And my God. Tovakin, how are you, by the way? Thanks for dropping by, chat. How's the evaluation coming along? It's not good, bro. We started off well with the CM Punk Rampage thing, and now we are at Eva Marie Doudrop versus Alexa Bliss and Lily, and it's a shit show.
Oh my God. Okay. Alexa Bliss, what she can do right now to salvage her career, right, is get rid of Lily. It's not working out. She tried. Everyone see that she tried, but it's not working out.
Okay, hold on. To be fair, do you think it's because opposite her, it's Doudrop and fucking Eva Marie?
Yes, that's also a big problem. Do you okay? If you want to have someone act off this craziness that she's trying to do, right? They need to be a good actor lah.
Yeah.
They need to be a good actress.
Even Shayna Baszler was not bad.
Yeah.
Like, but that thing was cut short, right? So it didn't last for more than like a week or two. So it was like, okay, I guess they are hot-shotting Eva Marie and Doudrop to that feud, that level lah. But I don't even get Eva Marie and Doudrop's relationship.
Yeah, and even though at the end of the match, right, the conclusion was Doudrop like walking away, announced that she's the loser. So I thought they're gonna break up, right? But then I was watching the exclusive on YouTube. Eva Marie came back and said to Doudrop, "Okay, let's talk about this. You know, let's work things out." And then she said yes. So it's still gonna continue. They're still gonna have the partnership.
See, are they okay? Let me try to think. Let me put on my WWE writer's hat right now. Fuck. I can't, because I can't wrap my head around the fact that this is a very easy story, but they are trying to do something different. And maybe kudos to them for trying to do something different, but it's not fucking working, right? Shouldn't the story be like Eva Marie mistreats Doudrop, but Doudrop doesn't see it? She keeps doing all the heavy lifting until finally the audience is just chomping at the bit. Come on, turn. And finally she turns, and you make Doudrop as a babyface heel likable, and you have Eva Marie as the heat magnet, right? Isn't that the most basic, normal, simple story to tell? Shouldn't that be the story that they tell here with these two?
It should, but it's
no.
WWE.
Yeah, no. I feel like they're trying to, let's do something different because this story has been told many times, but like it works. And the story they're trying to tell, like, if I can even fathom the chronology of this, right? It's like a bad Channel 8 episode where everyone's just doing everything wrong. You know, it's like, I'm not saying that there's something right, but it just doesn't make sense. Within the second episode of Raw, Doudrop already turning on Eva, and then they're still having their let's talk about it. It's like, So what is like? I have no words.
We are spending way too long on a very forgettable match. Come,
Let's move on. Yeah, you're right. Let's move on. You know what? I would have even appreciated if Doudrop started wrestling Lily. Okay? She starts taking back bombs and front flips like Lily is fighting.
Oh dear God.
I would have liked that. At least got comedic value. You know? What we had was a pile of horse shit. And I am sad that I'm saying that about an Alexa Bliss program right now. Let's move on. Doudrop, by the way, DOA at this point. No interest. Damien Priest versus Chamos. My God, man. I mean, you have to give it to these two because they are coming off a match that murdered the crowd. The crowd was dead. RIP 10 feet under Undertaker dead.
Can I just say that the Alexa Bliss and Doudrop segment is not the one to me that killed the crowd the most?
Okay.
I'm gonna say which one did.
Oh, yeah,
it's
I
not
know.
The worst.
Yes,
it's
I
not
know.
the worst.
Nah, I know. Okay. One more thing too. Like there were a few celebrity backstage announcers, right? Mario Lopez and Tiffany Haddish. What do you think of those very quickly? Because I believe Div Royalty brought it up.
I know Mario Lopez said something that was wrong. I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know what you mean, right? Like he misnamed something, but it's fine. Like they're celebrities, they don't know like exactly what everything is, right?
Yeah. But he got nice dimples, so it's fine.
It was a bit of an awkward interaction. Let's just put it that way.
Let's just say they were just reading lines and they don't know anything about the product.
Yeah. No, like they're just there to bring quote unquote star power. They're fans as well, but they don't know like they are exactly what the WWE is catering to. The casual, the kids. Yeah. Yeah. So they're not like us, knowing every single storyline, plot line, that kind of thing, right? Okay. Sorry, let's go. Oh, he said WWF. No, but he says he was a fan since WWF. So technically it's not wrong lah.
Nothing wrong,
Yeah, he was a kid when he first watched it. I think Tiffany, yes, Rishi, you're right. Tiffany Haddish said national championship instead of the US championship because US is national, ma.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I mean, it's not as bad as Summerfest, but it's still bad.
Summerfest, yes. Who said that, huh?
Jeremy Piven.
Yeah. And Ken Jeong on Raw. Okay, let's talk about the national championship title match between Damien Priest and Seamus. And I enjoyed the match for what it was, but it was practically them performing in the PC because it was the crowd was dead for that.
The crowd was dead. It's such a shame because actually I enjoyed this match in terms of like the match in-ring portion of it.
They worked
it was very hard hitting.
Yes. They brought the crowd back just slightly. Like the crowd like showed signs of life by the end, and then Priest rips off the mask, hits his finisher, boom. We have a new national champion. That's my new name for the title, by the way. The new national champion, Damien Priest.
You know, right? I think Damien Priest needs to get on the fast track because people forget that he's quite old already. He's like 39. 39,
yeah.
So he needs to have the Batista segment, Batista treatment, basically. 2 years, tag team. In the next 2 years, he need to be like in the world title contention.
Bro,
because
Money in the Bank. Let's go next year. Money in the Bank. Also happening in Allegiant Stadium, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes, based on the convention. And the thing is, Damien Priest has what it takes. It's not as if like he's green or what. He's seasoned.
Yeah,
he got the look.
Yeah, he looks like a star, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does look like a star. And even Tiffany Haddish doesn't talk about him and say, he's hot and all that kind of shit. I'm like, I mean, okay lah. If you find him hot and then you call him national champion, I guess it's like you gotta balance the good and the bad, right?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, not much to talk about because it was a good match. So I hate that we are spending more time on the shit than the good stuff. But it is what it is. The Mysterios versus Usos SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The problem is not like the wrestlers. The problem here is I feel like I've seen this play out so many times on SmackDown. I'm like, I couldn't pay attention to it.
It's a good match. And I enjoyed the story they were being told. I enjoyed the gear. I think they were paying homage to Randy Savage, right, with that gear, the yellow and red and pink. But like you said, like if I've seen a good, a very good match by both of them, I'm pretty sure it's been done before. This was not the first time I've seen a good match by them. Law of diminishing returns, bro. Basically,
and
that's essentially it.
The problem is both Usos look the same. So, I mean, you got Jimmy Uso versus Rey Mysterio. You got Jey Uso versus Rey Mysterio. You got Jimmy Uso versus Dominic. You got Rey. So it's like, we've definitely seen these matchups a million times on SmackDown. So it's like, okay.
How do you progress the storyline beyond, right?
Yeah. I mean, there have been hints of like, we talked about it last week as well. Rey like being critical of Dominic. And there are signs of a strained relationship. So maybe they're slowly building the seeds.
Yes, correct. And I think Usos is the right decision to continue holding the title. My only disappointment is that this time last year, Jay was a main eventer, essentially. Right. Now he's basically slid down the card. Now he's at Kofi Kingston already. Protecting.
The sins of the brother have come to haunt them, maybe.
Perhaps.
But I mean, they're SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So, I mean, yeah, to be fair, the division is not hot at all. Actually, okay, so the next big four is Survivor Series, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
Ooh. Usos versus RK Bro. I like that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if they can continue all the way there, I would love to see that match, for sure.
Rumor is Rey doesn't want to feud with Dominic. Really? Huh.
Maybe not so soon, because
later.
What's the payoff going to be at Survivor Series? Not really a good stage.
I think we've talked about this before. I think this needs to build throughout the entire year, and it needs to get really emotional. WrestleMania is the place to blow it off. And then they wrestle and they'll hug at the end. Never mind, Dominic wants to prove like he can be his own man. Ray is like the father. And then, you're going to have moments where like Ray can finish Dominic off, but he hesitates for a second. And then Dominic's like, no, do it. Or whatever. There can be moments like that built. The story is there. Easy.
I think Dominic also needs the time to become a better actor.
Well,
hopefully that will happen by then.
Bro, he is already 10,000 times the better actor than another Hall of Famous son, which we will talk about in a bit. Oh, God. Oh. Anyway, talking about wasting time segments, Nakamura comes out with Boogs. Pat McAfee loses his shit, which is, I guess, amusing after the 10 millionth time, right? But for what?
For what? Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, was this going to be like a surprise match?
Yeah.
But then it just cut.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be an IC title match. I'm like, okay, cool. And then Bianca Belair versus Carmela. I was like, what? What happened?
Was it supposed to be like the entertainment portion of the show, I guess?
Are you spots chat? Were you spots entertained by Boogs and Nakamura doing their random shit again?
You know what I low-key wanted to happen? I wanted a Botchamania moment to happen. All three of them was dancing on top of the table, right? Why the table gave way?
Dude, if that happened, that would have been hilarious. They should
that would
actually,
be entertaining.
I don't understand, why don't they script these things to happen? Like, just know your audience and know that the wrestling crowd would just laugh their ass off at that and have that happen.
They would eat it up. It will be a viral moment on Instagram, social media, and that's what they want. Generate traffics and memes, right?
Exactly. Okay. Let's move on then to, well, I'm not even gonna call this a match because this was a segment as well. Bianca Belair versus Carmela. Wait, okay, hang on. I actually appreciated the fact, in hindsight, them announcing Carmela pissed off the crowd so bad because they were expecting Sasha Banks. Do we know what happened to Sasha Banks?
I have no idea. I've been asking around. There was rumors that she wasn't medically cleared.
Yeah, but what does that mean? It could mean she didn't feel good, she had a broken disc, or just, didn't feel like wrestling.
But the thing I'm scared of is COVID. But if it's COVID, right, wouldn't everyone be quarantined?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure. But the official word out is that she's not medically clear, and WWE kind of swept it under the rug.
I'm starting to get very worried that Sasha Banks is not going to be long for the WWE because she seems to have this like almost like a Bray Wyatt in a way, like not reliable. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, I don't think that she's not reliable based on like she doesn't want to do business or what,
Well, but remember her huge layoff as well when she wasn't injured. She just straight up left. So
the 2 years ago, right?
All these things, I feel like they add up. Div Royalty said apparently she hit her head during the segment on SmackDown. And she wasn't at house shows the entire week, says Jason. So, okay, maybe it's a legit injury. Like, if it's a legit injury, then okay. But, I mean, if it's, here's the thing. If it's a legit injury, why didn't the WWE say she was injured? Or...
My problem was WWE still was trying to promote the match all the way up until this segment, which I think was the wrong thing to do lah.
Do you think that was the reason? They wanted to promote her as being there. But then, oh, sorry, last minute.
Cut subject to change lah. That's what they're trying to go for, is it?
Like bait and switch ah.
Yeah, but okay, if the intention all along was to bait and switch and give us Becky Lynch, it would still have been a great moment. But can we talk about what happened after that?
Oh, of course. Like I said, building up to it, yes, it was the right decision to bring Carmela out because the crowd would have shat on it like so hard. They're like, no, this is not what we paid to see. And then... Yeah, anyway, the worst Becky Lynch entrance attempt ever. But here comes the man. The man is back. Becky Lynch looking amazing. And that in itself as a moment was awesome, right? Like, it was like, yeah, come on, let's go. You know, Becky Lynch, fresh off a hiatus, being the mom man. And then she challenges Bianca Belair. Bianca accepts on the spot. And she loses within 15 seconds.
Everything up until that moment, even the part where she threw Carmela out of the ring and then she challenged her. Yeah. I think the crowd and including everyone here at home, we were so hyped. Yeah, sure. We want to see a Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair match. That would steal the show, right?
Yeah. That would have stole the show at, I don't know, the next pay-per-view if they built it up. But no, hey, Becky's back. Challenge you right away because apparently the wrestlers have the power to make title matches like that. Meanwhile, Sonya Deville and the Johnny Sins, I mean, what? Oh, I don't believe...
Adam
Pearce. They are like sitting in the back. What are we, furniture? Fucking got no power one. No, they didn't have to say okay. No, they made the match on the spot. Fine, it's a wrestling trope, I get it. But she beats her within 15 seconds, essentially squashing Bianca Belair.
Okay, did she debut a new finisher? Is this manhandle slam something that she used to do? I don't remember.
No, it's not. It's a freaking rock bottom is what it is. It's not even a pump handle slam. So
okay, so there's two failures here. Okay, they wanted to create a shocking moment, right? She didn't even do a finisher that is recognizable by the audience. So they thought that was just the opening move of the match.
Yep. And then no, 1, 2, 3, done. Yep. So
the problem is the crowd thought it was like a mistake or like, oh, maybe something weird happened. So it was a confused reaction as opposed to like a legitimate shock.
Pop, yeah.
If she did some sort of a finisher that everyone knows, I mean, she doesn't have like a slam finisher, right? Her one is a submission. Yeah. So that's also one problem already.
Yeah.
So if she did something like that, it would have been shocking because they were like, holy shit, she did her finisher. Holy shit, she's gonna pin her now.
Yep.
So there was a very anticlimactic moment. That's one thing. Secondly, she came back as a face. She beat a beloved face.
Yep. Well,
so it's not as
I don't know if beloved is the right word. And here's the problem. And maybe this is on the young talent not being able to get over in the time that they had the opportunity to get over. You know what I mean? But yeah. And this goes back to us talking about how this entire weekend was all for the moments and highlights a huge problem right now in pro wrestling where there are no new stars, especially in the WWE.
Bianca Belair was on her way to be a star, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In spite of her booking, not because of her booking, in spite of her booking, because she carries herself like a star. And I believe that if she's given time, she's given the John Cena push. You know, like John Cena's push is like when she became champion, she kena book on the talk shows.
Yeah.
She go this, she go there, whatever it is, right? And carry the title around everywhere. She had the potential to carry the title all the way until next year's WrestleMania at the very least, in my opinion. Problem is WWE got cold feet with her.
Why?
Yeah, that's the thing. Why? Is it because they wanted to save Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair for a better moment? Or is Sasha going to be out for so long they wanted to pivot and never mind, let's focus on Becky Lynch now?
Yeah. the dirt sheets are saying that this whole Becky thing was a super last minute decision. She wasn't even supposed to come back until October, but because of what happened to Sasha, they're like, all right, we need a moment. Let's bring Becky in, and at the expense of Bianca Belair, and that's the thing. If you watch these interviews, a lot of the times title changes can happen like the night before or the day off. They just change their minds. Like, all right, no, you're dropping the title or you're winning the title.
Do you know what? Honestly, right? If I were to armchair book this, right, I wouldn't even mind giving Bianca and Carmela the time for the match. At least the crowd is booing, blah, 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 but they might win them over with their in-ring work. Yeah. And eventually, obviously, inevitably, Bianca beats Carmela. Yeah. And then it's like a bit of an anticlimactic. Yeah, okay, they had the match, okay, bye, fine. And then they do like an Undertaker, John Cena at WrestleMania moment, right? Where the lights go down. And then Becky Lynch just comes out just to confront, just do that face-to-face.
Yes. And that builds your entire road to the next pay-per-view or the pay-per-view after that. Right now, it just seems like, okay, no, you're done. You're out the door. Bianca Belair, goodbye.
Or if you want to make it even more like newsworthy, right? You want to turn Becky Lynch heel? Okay. Come back. As in, she did do exactly the same thing. Carmela gets beaten. Bianca celebrating. Becky Lynch come back, smart. Everyone like, woo, oh my God, she's back. And then they look at her. She look at Bianca, put out her hand, and then strike her in the face. Like what happened at SummerSlam 3 years ago. Right.
And have her come back as heel. But okay to be fair, we don't really know what Becky Lynch is now. The crowd just cheered because she returned, right? And she still she took the first shot. It was heelish actions. Actually, you never know. She might actually be the face, right? And this could be the way they turn Bianca heel. And I dare say Bianca was a better heel in NXT than she was as a face. So this could lead to a heel Bianca versus Becky Lynch.
Okay, so I guess why it's confusing right now is because the dynamics hasn't been established. Who is the heel, who's the face? So that's where I guess people want to tune in to find out more. It's just that if you can't separate the moment of her return with what happened after that, because now forever, right, it puts a dampener on her return.
No, I agree 100%. And but here's the thing though, like I said, I don't really feel like, even though how long did she have the title since WrestleMania, right?
Yes.
It feels very short. It feels like 4 she didn't do anything with it,
because she didn't have any worthy contenders. Like
she had Bailey.
Yeah, okay. For example, right, Bobby Lashley felt longer the title reign, even though it's the exact same time, kind of, right? Yeah. Because he won near WrestleMania and he's kept it all the way to Goldberg, but he had multiple challenges since then that gave them a good shot at the title.
Okay, I will say something very controversial right now.
What?
Miz's title reign was more memorable than Bianca's.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah? Miz had it for 1 day. What was it, 1 day?
Yes, 1 day.
1 day.
It's what? No, 1 week.
Yeah, 1 week. Oh, so yeah, it made more of a freaking impact than Bianca's entire title reign. She had a great match, but in between everything was like, okay, whatever. Very forgettable. Is that on the writers? Is that on Bianca? A little bit? I think it's a bit of everything.
It could be a bit of both. And here's the problem with young stars, okay? And we talk about how they're not pushing young stars and that kind of stuff. It's because of situations like this. Like when you are an established star, you know what to do to keep yourself interesting, to keep people invested. The youngsters are just listening to directions at this point in time.
I think here's the thing. This is what this is like Roman Reigns when he was like shaking his pants in the ring with John Cena those years ago. Bianca is there. She's gotten the strap. They put everything on her. She's still green. I mean, not green, but you know what I mean, right? Give her 3-4 years, then we'll see fully formed, fully evolved Bianca Belair, and that is going to be interesting.
Yeah, but again, like even when John Cena first won the title in 2005, he was still green. But they kept the title on him, and then they kept at it. Yeah. Eventually, people got used to the idea of him being the main guy, and that's what they need to do with the young stars.
Well, here's hoping that they stick with certain people, because we all know WWE right now, they have a huge problem with sticking to anybody, and they keep giving it back to the old established talents, which is exactly what they did here at SummerSlam. So there you go, Becky Lynch, the new SmackDown Women's Champion, right? Let's move on then. Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. I actually enjoyed the match. It wasn't a bad match by any, stretch.
Speaking of people WWE not sticking with their new talent, right? I think the best example is Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this match could have been built so much better. They could have talked about their 3MB history. They could have talked about how both of them were former champions. They could have talked about who is the better person, who has actually came back from the brink and made a better show of themselves. Like, I wanted them to focus on that story, but instead we got a sword getting decapitated.
Yeah, we got Shanky and the other guy, Veer. His
we got
goons.
chair shots.
Yeah.
So they focus on the wrong thing.
Yeah, this match, Pascal, what's up, dude? Hidayah, how are you? Irvin, good to see you as well, by the way, up in chat. Welcome. If you missed any of it, don't worry. All this stuff will be on our YouTube page. Do us a favor, hit that like button real quick, if you don't mind. Hit subscribe if you haven't already as well. And you can always catch the audio on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Jinder should have won. Did nothing for both guys, says Pascal. I agree. Like, Drew winning is kind of expected. Nothing, like, this seems like a holdover feud. Like, okay, we'll just give you guys something to do because we have nothing else planned.
Yeah, the thing about the sword, okay, I know the sword as an accessory to come to the ring, I think it's cool. But don't brandish the sword like you're gonna decapitate someone. Like, it's not realistic, lah. Come on.
It doesn't work. You're right, you know.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I wish that Jinder would have destroyed like the real sword. Remember, he destroyed a replica. I was like, what kind of a cop out is that?
Yeah, and okay, here's what I was thinking about it the whole time I was watching SummerSlam, you know, because I feel like Drew got this cheeky side to him.
Yeah, he does.
Which hasn't been explored. Because I remember there was this one time there's promo he keep calling himself the sexy Scotsman or some shit like that. They could have just used the sword as an analogy for how huge his.
Oh my god! Oh shit! I see where you're going with this. I don't know if their PG world can handle this.
I know, but it would have been so entertaining. Like, if they can hint at being moist and dripstick and all that kind of shit, like, they can just have a tongue in cheek, like, you wanna have a piece of my Angela or some shit. I do not know.
No,
but the thing is, it would have been entertaining.
Yeah, but
make it entertaining.
The sword is named after his mother, so I don't think penis jokes are on the table. Yeah, that's he said it in the promo on Raw. Angela is his mother's name, who passed away. So he.
But the problem with that is, here's the thing: like, if you're using your mom's name, you want to use it as a like a memory, as a tribute, right? Yeah. But you're still using it to decapitate other people. Not on brand.
Look, so the thing with, like, and we talked about it too, right? You talk about their history. You talked about the fact that, you know, remember Jinder brought in a lawyer and everything? I thought that was where they were going. I thought we would see some bullshit courtroom drama that could have shown Drew's funny side. But just like with many things, the writing, the booking has been very, very sus. It's like, okay, we're just going to try this one week. We're not really feeling it, so we'll just go another way. And it's like, no, just give it time, for fuck's sake, you know?
I think Drew has the potential of Triple H when he was a face. Like, Triple H when he was a face, he's a bit wink. He made a lot of these like very funny references. He's kind of in the know that he's stupid and dumb, and then he wants people to laugh along with it. Like, I kind of like if Drew goes down that route. Yeah, because him being as a serious like killer kind of guy, there's too many people doing it right now. Just look at the main event and got Lashley doing that same thing.
And he's done that for many, many months already. So give him a different side. Let's see a different side of him, right? And then, like, when it's time for him to switch on again, then he can be like, okay, I've been having fun for the last couple of months. Now it's time to, you know, focus, blah, 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 whatever. Like, have some momentous event in his life. You can paint these stories easy. It's just lazy booking at this point. Or
that's why you see Randy Orton, I think in this last 1 year has shown great range, because he's now doing the fun shit with Riddle. He did the crazy cookie what the fuck shit with Bray. And then before that he was like the legend killer with Edge.
You mean the AEW messenger? He's sending everybody to AEW. Ric Flair, Christian Cage, Mark Henry. He just punt them straight to AEW.
Yeah, so the point I'm trying to make is like Randy Orton managed to have an opportunity to like try out different stories within this 1 year span, while Drew was essentially the same person this entire year.
Even Stone Cold had his and suck up the Vince McMahon face. The Rock was always funny. So they should give Drew this opportunity, and maybe he himself should take this opportunity now that he's not in the main title feud to explore those different things, and who knows, it could send him to the next level.
Yeah. For me, I think he should continue with Jinder, but do focus on a different aspect of the story.
Sure. Let's move on then. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley versus Nikki Ash for the Raw Women's Championship. I mean, you heard the pop that Nikki got when she won Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
And then when she won, it was like, people are still building momentum for her character. I wouldn't say she's there yet. They're building momentum to that character. It was a good enough match. Nope, Charlotte Flair is the champion again.
Do you think Nikki had the rug swept under her, or was she not like getting the reactions that WWE wanted, and that's why they pulled the rug?
I think it's short-sighted booking. I think they have a certain goal in mind. And because you know how Survivor Series is brand v brand, right?
Yeah.
Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. That's the goal.
At this point in time, I think Charlotte Flair is like Thanos lah. She's just inevitable.
Inevitable. I'm not saying that she shouldn't be in the main title hunt because she elevates other people, right? But at this point, like literally, Nikki just needs a few more weeks to hold on to the title to give her some sort of legitimacy. You gave her a win on Raw. She was doing well. Like the crowds have been okay. I don't think the crowds have been dead on her. So I don't get, I really feel like this is short-sighted booking. Now they just want to build towards a Survivor Series.
Do you know who suffers the most, even more than Nikki Cross, in my opinion?
Rhea Ripley, because she's an complete afterthought in this entire equation, isn't she?
But the problem is, right, bro, if I'm a casual fan, right, and I'm watching wrestling and this match for the first time, if I see these three people, I would think Rhea Ripley is the coolest, most badass looking girl I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. But I mean, Charlotte has Flair as a last name.
Yeah, that's the problem. And if I can armchair book Rhea Ripley, right, you know what I would do with her?
What?
I want her to be like the Hell's Angel leader of a bicycle club, and like every day she ride to Raw in like a bike and like hang out outside Raw, like the arena. And then you know my favorite time in wrestling is when like the wrestlers have something where they're kind of hanging out outside the building as a gimmick. And then like they're like talking or like they're interacting with fans outside the arena, that kind of shit. Yeah, there was one time DX had a barbecue outside Raw, or like there was this segment where I can't remember, like they were in like the jacuzzi pool at the backstage of the arena, or even APA having their own den where they're gambling. Like I just think that she is so cool that I don't mind Rhea Ripley having something like that as like her calling card,
Bicycle gang all roll up, and then Undertaker so.
Yeah, she looked like fucking like from the what's that movie? The Mad Max.
Mad Max, yeah.
Play up to that because I think her aesthetic is so cool.
Differalty says, did you guys see that picture of Rhea, Riddle, and Priest before SummerSlam, and Riddle tagged it as future champions? Then they had a sad picture just after SummerSlam with Riddle and Damien smiling, Rhea looking sad.
Okay, at least they're tongue-in-cheek about it lah.
The thing with Rhea is, and there's no doubt, right? She looks great. She's the complete package. Actually, she's not the complete package. That's my point. Her promos are not there. Not at the level they need to be for her to be the total package. So I kind of get why Charlotte is still in the picture, but it's just like I'm annoyed at the fact that Nikki's run got cut short.
I think at this point in time, a lot of people was DMing us saying that they were so frustrated when Charlotte won. They were like saying like they're just trying to pad out her title resume.
Yeah. No. Well, so okay, is this then? To counter that argument, she's a heel, what? You're supposed to be frustrated at her, what?
Could be possible.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's really is the best that WWE has to offer, and at this point there's no one better than her, then keep her on top lah.
Well, you don't have to do it at SummerSlam in a triple threat, because either way, if Nikki retains by pinning Rhea or Rhea wins by pinning Nikki, you still keep Charlotte strong. She doesn't take the pin. So there's always a way around that, right? So the fact here is that she literally pinned Nikki right in the. Actually, no, she didn't pin. She made her submit. Like, so where are you going to go with the Nikki almost a superhero thing? Unless she wins it right.
It's
back on Raw.
I guess the story of her career, Nikki, is it that the fact that she's almost there, but she just never wins it, or she wins a bit, but then gets the rug pulled under her. Maybe that's the theme of her almost a superhero, right?
Maybe in 2-3 years she can win the big one again. But then again, she won. The problem is she's already won the big one, so you can't have a winning the big one moment anymore.
Yeah,
because Kofi never won the big one.
A lot of people equated it to the Kofi situation where she came back and then she just literally just lost and that's it. Like she's not meant to be the main person carrying the Raw Women's title.
No. So like I said, now you have the 4 horsewomen. I don't want to say old, but your established stars, the 4 horsewomen. You know, you got Charlotte and Becky at the top again. Moving forward, like I said, my prediction is that this is what goes into Survivor Series, right? And then maybe they'll have small feuds. Obviously, Becky is going to feud with Bianca on SmackDown for a bit. Bianca's like, oh, I wasn't ready, blah, 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 whatever. And hopefully they'll have a good series of matches.
I hope that Ria bounces back from this because I think she should still be the face of Raw eventually for the women's, but she needs more time. She needs more seasoning, like you said.
But I don't care to see Charlotte versus Ria again. You know? Like, it feels played out.
And that's why I feel like Nikki was such a great transition because like you have Nikki, it's a new focal point, right?
Yeah.
But they're keeping Charlotte on top because to be honest, there's no one better than her. And it sucks lah. It's like the Triple H reign of terror in this case.
Irvin has a very good point actually, going on her whole almost a superhero thing. She should have passed out instead of tapping out. Actually, at least you know what, you jump the title back to Charlotte, but you put Nikki over as this won't give up,
tenacious, fighting spirit. That would have been great actually. Great decision.
See,
Irvin.
just a small tweak to the booking would have made it so much better. They should be hiring us and chat. But
I'm available for freelance WWE.
Okay, let's move on then. And this is okay. Like the match itself was good. So like I was joking with Foreign, right? I messaged him. I should have woken up here during the Charlotte Rhea Nikki match. Just wake up there. The rest don't watch because the rest was. Anyway, Seth Rollins versus Edge and. Dun, 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 dun. Wow. Hey, when they did the brood bath, because PG, you can't say blood bath. Lame. It was some blood, like really thick tar. It was black lah, as opposed to red, you know. The brood, I guess, because he had to go to that dark place that he hasn't gone to in a long time for this match. And then the brood entrance at SummerSlam. I kind of wish he did the whole entrance all the way instead of going to his, regular entrance halfway through.
It was a good bit of nostalgia. Is this the first time he pulled out the brood entrance ever since he was the brood?
Yeah. Because after that, he never brought out the brood entrance ever again.
Yeah, because obviously he went to the Rob Zombie team and then he with the Alter Bridge, right? But one thing I think was they were trying to tell this story was the fact that he needed to bring back things from his old toolbox to defeat Seth Rollins, and I kind of enjoyed that a lot. What do you think?
It was Alexa Bliss sauce. Vince said.
Alexa Bliss sauce.
Remember Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania with the black
my God,
tar?
completely forgot about that. Thanks for reminding.
Yeah. Tobakin lost his mind during that segment. Dude, I agree 100,000%. That brood entrance. And talking about bringing old stuff back, and you saw this throughout the entire match. The two wrestlers told that story. Like, here you have one seasoned veteran, like Hall of Famer, one seasoned veteran, and what they did in that ring was a masterpiece. They laid their masterpiece out there. I dare say this was the best match of the whole card in terms of the story, they told.
Absolutely, man, 100%. I agree, because I think not only was the in-ring segment great, like they were both killing it in the ring. They were telling great stories. I love the callbacks. I love the glam slam.
Oh yeah, no, the glam slam, the education, the educator, all these terribly named moves, by the way.
Yeah, and the most Edge with his puns. The thing that was the most dramatic moment in my opinion of the match was when because they were targeting his neck, right?
Yeah.
Edge's neck. And some of the things that they did to him really look really, really painful. And I was really legitimately fearing for Edge. Like, is this really safe for him to even do? But then when they were prepping up for the curb stomp, and he did the curb stomp, and right at the last minute, he held up his hand and blocked the foot to the face.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a like, why no one thought of doing that to make it like a dramatic pinfall? Like, oh my god, stop the foot with the hands. Like, seems like something that someone would do, right? So cool.
Maybe his time in acting class has taught him a thing or two about, logic.
Maybe.
No, but
maybe
it's true, because like when you do a certain thing in any field, there are certain tropes that you will follow. And it takes someone to completely step back and go, actually, this is quite dumb. Why don't we just do something different? Something more logical, right? Like in wrestling, there's a trope. And people who break these tropes, like your CM Punks, that's why they stand out. Because it's something that we've all, as fans, wondered, this looks kind of dumb. Actually, very easy to reverse. Why not do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think the thing about Edge is what I like about him ever since he came back, right, is that do you realize that he is so good with his facials now? Like, it's very obvious, and I know it comes back from his acting, but it's so sometimes I realize that maybe wrestling doesn't need flashy moves. It just needs the face,
bro.
the facials.
Sometimes, bro. I mean, we've talked about this 100,000 times before, Remember when we watched that Young Bucks match where they actually acted, and I was like, actually, that was a good match. Versus all the matches where they do 10,000 flips, 360s, 540s, flying jalapenos, and indie takers and bullshit, and it's like you still don't feel the connection. It's all about acting and a story. And as good as this match was, I don't think it was the best match of the weekend. Let me put it that way.
Okay. I look forward to what you're saying, but I wanted to bring your attention to something that Bobby Lashley said on Stone Cold's Broken Skull session, which is so relevant to what you're talking about. Remember, Bobby Lashley say one thing about when he first started out, he was just so focused on getting the moves right. He didn't even think about anything else. He wanted to make sure that the sequence was correct. He did everything correct. Yeah. And that was the thing that a lot of people commented, was saying that you are too in yourself when you forget to like feel the match, like forget to stand up straight and look this. Yeah.
It's about body language and intensity, right? A headlock is not a rest hold. A headlock, when you freaking like, actually, didn't he talk about this in his interview? Yeah. Like a simple headlock, if applied right, is a painful move. Tovakin said, I saw a YouTube video once that mentioned how Punk's Anaconda Vice actually doesn't hurt IRL. Technically all their holds are not supposed to hurt lah. They just do it's work, right? At the end of the day. Yeah. Very quickly.
Stone Cold made fun of John Cena's STFU.
Oh, okay. Because it doesn't hurt.
The way he hold it was he put it to the head. But he doesn't like squeeze it against the forehead. Yeah
lah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's you're selling. The whole point is not to hurt your opponent, and that's why, going back to the whole facials thing, if you are freaking bad acting, being put in the STF, like of course you're not gonna sell it. Speaking of which, there's somebody I need to bring up. A son with terrible acting. We'll get there. Okay, we'll get there. Yeah. He won. Okay, he won with a sleeper crossface, which is something completely new.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh, but you know why? I think ever since he came back and feuded with Roman, and he was doing the crossface with the chair to the mouth, he seems to have utilized it as his finisher as well.
Sure, why not add a new tool to his arsenal, right?
Yeah, got known Daniel Bryan also to do the crossface. I think he take over.
Exactly, just whack. Yeah, great freaking match. You leave the crowd on this high with this buzz, right? Like, yeah, freaking right from the intro, the Brood stuff, the throwbacks, and the big hot finish, right? Like, the crowd is on fire. So what do? You moisten them and kill them dead.
So this is what I wanted to tell you and talk to you about, Mr. Young.
Yes.
The most jealous segment in history. I've seen a lot of shitty things in WWE,
Yeah.
but I've never cringed because I don't think like my tolerance for cringe I think quite high.
Yeah.
But this is the first time in my life I actually cringed because I was looking at the people in the audience.
Yeah. They were like, what
They
the fuck
were-
is what?
They were sitting with with their hands on their butt like they weren't reacting at all.
Yo,
Holy shit.
you know how I'm always like Miz and Morrison are freaking criminally underrated, right?
Yeah.
What happened here?
They couldn't save the segment, bro. I'm sorry. They tried.
Okay, I want to say that it was just a shit idea. They brought in a truck to moisten everybody because that's Morrison's thing. He did moist, wanted, whatever bullshit, right? And then Xavier Woods stole the truck, but he only came out with one fucking. It's like, you know, you go to the water cooler,
Yeah.
that bottle. He brought out
Yes,
one.
correct.
You stole the whole truck, but you brought out one. Okay, fine.
Yeah, so I don't understand what's the point of like getting the entire like lorry full of
Water.
water, right? But then in the end, he
One.
just used it with one squirt because it doesn't make sense.
And then he had like the was it squirt stick, the moist stick? What do they call it?
yeah, it's
The
like the moist stick. Yeah,
drip
it's the drip stick.
The drip stick 2000. And then it's like just shooting out a stream of water. I'm like, bro, my shower head got more fucking power than this shit, okay? And why was Woods dressed up as Reza Ramon?
No, just a random cause. There was no explanation at all.
Why wasn't there Big E? Why wasn't there Kofi Kingston? At least you bring all three out, got freaking energy, right? No, it was just Woods dressed as Reza Ramon. No
Slash
idea.
Ghostbusters.
With the stupid thing. No idea. And then Miz and Morrison, they are trying to act as if they are being beer bath when it's just this. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
the
oh,
point.
fuck,
Like,
bro.
first there was no context to explain what's going on. Obviously, they're trying to. It was a plug. They were trying to promote that stupid brand
Yeah.
of water. Yeah, sure.
Then spray the crowd lah.
But
With like,
they sold the water squirt like it was like a high pressured
yeah.
pipe.
But it's actually a like freaking water gun, not even. And then they're like, I was like, oh my god, this is so bad. I get that they couldn't drive the water truck. Like, I mean, obviously, if that's fantasy book, if there was a proper ramp, you could drive the water truck out and they can just spray the Miz and Morrison, and then they spray the crowd. Oh, it's so hot, come, I spray y'all, and then everyone like, oh, it's a freaking water party. That would have been cool. I think that was the idea. Right?
Yeah.
But because of the limitations, okay, you go out there with one bottle and squirt people. Like, what?
Maybe the logistics of it, or maybe they didn't think it through. Maybe they thought like, okay, we could have done that thing, go roll it in,
Then-
and then last minute like they couldn't do it lah.
Like I said, have a whole bunch of superstars come out with the water soaker and then soak the crowd.
Yeah.
Not one Razor Ramon dress cosplay. Oh my god.
I felt
bro.
so bad for everyone involved. I felt so bad for Xavier Woods. I felt so bad for Morrison and The Miz. It was the cringiest thing I've seen in all my WWE life as a fan.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Like as an ad, a sponsored ad, I also would have been embarrassed. I'd be like, hey, why couldn't you have done better with this? Yeah, get the whole New Day out, freaking bring out Titus O'Neil, whoever the hell else, the people not doing anything, come out and spray people. Fuck.
I mean, if during the Divas era, bro, 10 years ago, they probably bought a whole bunch of Divas and started
Oh, yeah.
squirting.
This one easy already. During the at Divas, yeah, it would have been a wet t-shirt contest. No need to worry.
No need
But
to even think too much, yeah.
now they want to be creative. At least be creative and have people spray. No, fucking
Okay,
Woods.
which one is worse? This or the Army of the Dead zombie match?
This, 100% this. At least Army of the Dead was nonsense. Like, okay, fine, we get that you're promoting the movie, and then, but like Miz and Morrison always gonna. They're like, wow, they're really company men. They're like, okay, anything, we'll try. No, like, do you see friggin' Roman Reigns doing this? Seth Rollins doing this? Probably
They've
not.
become like the Chavo Guerrero of this
Yeah.
generation.
Okay, whatever you want me to do. Okay, can. Yeah. All right, let's move on then from one shit segment to one shit match. The crowd is booing Goldberg. The mystique of Goldberg is no longer a thing. Why does the WWE constantly bring him back to try to parade him out there as some destroying monster? You're next. We've seen him in so many matches. They have been shit matches. And the crowd already knows that this sucks. And they're booing him right off the bat. And he's supposed to be the all-conquering hero.
when you talk about law of diminishing returns, right? I think Goldberg is the best example. You pull him and parade him out. One time is nice. Two times, maybe not too much anymore. Three times, I'm done with this guy. Now this is like 7th, 8th time already, right?
And the crowd has completely turned on him. And why don't they turn him heel? Like, I've read some reports that say that he has creative control. Do you think that he is so egotistical that it's like, no, I have to be the all-conquering face? Because it's very obvious he's the face in this promo, right? I mean, in this program with his son and everything. You know, MVP is like getting in his son's face, then he gets angry. He's the protective father. He's supposed to be portrayed as a face, but nobody cares.
Yeah.
And
the problem is he keeps insisting that he is this lovable, relatable hero that, we want you to be happy for your son, that kind of thing. But he got booed the moment he walked out of the room. Nobody was chanting Goldberg. It was noticeably softer. There was less people shouting Goldberg, that kind of thing. And the problem is the son, he doesn't come across as a very sympathetic guy because he also looks like a jerk. Yeah,
he looks like a Chad, doesn't he?
He looks like a Chad.
So Sunberg, Gold Sun, whatever you want to call him, it's just not working. And okay, to be fair, he's probably not used to being on camera. He's not an actor. I don't think he looks like an athlete, right?
Yeah.
The match itself was just slow.
Okay, I want to ask you this question because everyone hates the fact that his match is predictable. Spear, jackhammer, 5-minute match, that kind of thing. So here is something different. They're trying to make it more of like Lashley's the dominant person. So is it the fact that them trying to tell a different story doesn't work because it's not Goldberg's wheelhouse, or maybe it just exposed him that he really can't do anything more than spear, jackhammer?
Look, that's it. That's exactly it. The second one, what you just said. His entire WCW career was clothesline, spear, jackhammer. He was booked dominantly when he was in his prime. He could do those moves just fine. Well, except for the one time he freaking concussed and retired Bret Hart. That's a different story altogether. But you know what I mean? He was the right person, right time. He is by no means a technical wizard, by no means a competent storyteller. He was just good at that point in time. Let's be real honest, right? So now that he's older and his key moves he can't really do well anymore, it exposes him greatly. I mean, that freaking crown jewel, was it? Whatever, the one with Undertaker. Really pushed that fact, like, okay, he can't do these matches anymore. And then here we have Bobby Lashley basically trying to throw himself around for Goldberg. Okay, there was this one weird spot actually with Bobby where Goldberg throws him off the top rope. Did you notice that? I cringed damn hard because Bobby rotates at the freaking last second. I was like, holy fuck, he's gonna land on his neck. But he rotated onto his back, but at the last second, so I was like, ooh, was that a miscue as well?
It was like a lot of people actually pointed it out. It was like a botch from Goldberg. He didn't throw him safely.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go. So I was like, fuck. See, like if Lashley had rotated 1 second later, he would have landed on his head. Like, stop bringing this fuckface back. I'm sorry, but I cannot, like, you know, he brings nothing to the table. He's not a likable face. He's not a dominating force. The crowd is starting to boo him. If he's putting people at risk as well, he has no right. I'm not saying no right. Like, he has no business being in the ring. If you want to do promos and documentaries with him, yeah, fine. Please go ahead. He has a legacy. That's fine. But don't have him in the ring. Endangering other people. Okay, and then talking about botches, this one not so bad because he just made himself look like an asshole. when MVP whacks his knee with the cane, you're like, oh! 2 seconds later, like
delayed reaction.
He's so powerful, you see.
You know what's the funny thing? I think he forgot how to sell. He's like, alamak, I'm indestructible. Should I sell or should I show a bit of weakness? Okay lah, weakness a bit lah.
Yeah.
You know for a fact that him asking to get disqualified like this is him establishing his creative control. He doesn't want to look clean.
Yep,
He still wants to look sympathetic.
But that's the thing. They cheered when MVP did that. And then when he finally lost, I don't know, he didn't lose, right? The match got thrown out. Referee stoppage. The crowd was not having it. Like, I don't think they were booing the referee stoppage. They were booing Goldberg. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like, what is this bullshit? And didn't they chant bullshit? I can't remember.
Do you know why the crowd was cheering? I believe they was cheering because like
Lashley.
It's Lashley dominating Goldberg.
Yeah.
Goldberg is not the one squashing him, so it's not going to be a typical Goldberg match. And I think they appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yes, Lashley is still being presented, in a good way.
But then that finish, the crowd realized, I think crowds, as much as you want to say, they cater to the, casuals. Even a casual can see what is this nonsense, Like this is a weak ass finish, and Goldberg just doesn't look strong anymore. And okay, then we get to the part which really pissed me off, because it's like Gage gets behind Lashley, tries to put him to sleep or whatever the fuck, right? Lashley flips out, throws him over, puts him in the hurt lock, and then MVP has to act. And kudos to MVP. I just felt bad that he has to go through with this bullshit. It's like, no, that's his son. Don't do that, right? And now you're gonna really anger Goldberg. I was like, oh my god, this means this shit is continuing.
You know what's gonna happen, right? Goldberg versus Lashley at Crown Jewel. Woo!
Okay, Crown Jewel is not canon. The Saudi shows don't uncanon as far as I'm concerned.
As long as Goldberg doesn't bring the the WWE Championship back as the champion, I'm fine.
Bro, now that you said that, bro, I'm very worried. Because
canon or non-canon, bro.
Yeah, how do you write yourself out of this feud at this point? Like with him, he has to come out on top at the end of the day, right? It's Goldberg, and he's being presented as this sympathetic baby face. Oh, you beat up, you put the hurt lock on my son. And by the way, it was all Bobby, right? Bobby's like doing the swinging. You see his son's face is like, I'm like, wow, this goes back to the whole acting thing. It's not supposed to hurt because you're supposed to keep each other safe, but at the same time you're supposed to sell, make it look like it hurts. And he's just
he's like riding a roller coaster, bro.
Bro, even riding roller coaster also you got emotions, right? Like, oh my god, I cannot lah.
Sandberg is problematic, bro.
It's not Sandberg's fault. He's not an actor. He's not a worker. It's not in his wheelhouse to do this. It's Goldberg's fault for putting him in that position.
Do you know what's weird? Like, if you put the same thing to Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, right? And then Dominic kena the hurt lock, right? I think I'll be more sympathetic for Dominic, even though Dominic is like 9 years older than this Sandberg.
Yeah. Because he got baby face.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the facials, and maybe the you know how Goldberg is considered unlikable to a lot of people.
Yeah,
that unlikableness rub off on Gage lah. The whole family all unlikable. How?
Yeah, no. You know what's gonna happen? Crown Jewel. Actually, no. I got a better matchup than Goldberg versus Lashley.
What?
Gageberg versus Lashley. And Gageberg becomes the new WWE champion thanks to Goldberg interference. Let's go. That's it, bro.
I'm pretty sure he's still a minor. I don't think he's 16 yet, bro.
Never mind. Hey, remember Braun Strowman and Nicholas?
Holy shit. Hey, Nicholas is probably the same age as Sandberg right now.
If Nicholas can win the tag team title at whatever, was he 13, 14?
He was like 8 or 10 or something like that.
Hey, Sandberg is going to win. You watch Sandberg, Gageberg, whatever the hell you want to call him. Gage, Gold Sun. He is going to be the WWE champion after Saudi, after freaking Crown Jewel. Let's go.
Okay, the positives of this match is I guess Lashley stayed strong, but everything else is a negative.
No, yeah, 100%. This shit is carrying on. Actually, now I'm quite amused to see what happens next because it's going to be a shit show.
I was watching a couple of streams, right? Actually, people were laughing when Gage kena headlock. They were like, yeah, beat up the son. Yes, beat up the son.
People were cheering that shit.
I know.
And then poor MVP has to be like, no, like the fear. Like, you have to give it to the folk like MVP, like Miz and Morrison for putting up with this bullshit and just saying, okay, you know what, you want me to do this? I'll do this to the best of my ability.
That's the problem. Why can't they just... I don't want to talk about this match anymore, bro.
Overkin says next we'll have Wifeberg win the women's championship. Yes.
I love how like all of us are just calling them Berg. Everything Berg.
Wife Berg, son Berg, maybe dad Berg will show up.
Old Berg, old Berg.
Oh my god, enough. Okay, let's talk about the main event then. John Cena versus Roman Reigns, Universal Championship. Did you like his new throwback design? Which
Yeah, I thought it was cute. It was a Super Mario reference, was it?
it's a reference to Super Mario 3, and at the back of the shirt, there's 16-time world champion. It has all his titles in pixelated form, which was cool. It was also a dead giveaway that he was not going to win a 17th. By the way, if you think about it.
Yes and no, because I thought like if he was gonna come out with a new shirt, then for him to just come out with a new shirt and then go away, isn't it? Doesn't make sense also.
No, it makes sense because they want to cash in. But it didn't make sense that it was a shirt that says 16-time champ. If it was like a giveaway to me, like, oh, he's obviously not going to win, because then that shirt will be completely irrelevant immediately after. And they still want to sell John Cena shirts. Now, what's interesting was that design was used by CM Punk.
Punk. Yeah.
I mean,
I saw that.
To be fair too, this is Super Mario lah. That was the original design. But interesting, huh?
I think that John Cena and CM Punk are on good terms. I think CM Punk would appreciate John Cena giving a nod to him as opposed to him being offended by it, you know.
Right. Pascal says balding Cena. Hey, give the man a break. He's already like in his 40s, isn't he?
It's damn funny, you know.
30s.
Like he looks normal from the front, you know. Like he looks the same, but then from the back, he just gives it away.
And he looks smaller, right? He's lost mass, which to me was very weird because you're always used to John Cena being jacked and yoked. Now he looks like he's leaned out a bit.
Yeah, it's obvious on the biceps and the forearms, you know, like because he always remember he wears like the sleeve, what do you call it? Headband, but sleeve bands
the
on his
like,
biceps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always look at that. I was thinking like, wow, that guy's huge, humongous arms. But this one, he looked more like, he looks.
I mean, you know, he's probably too busy to be pumping that much iron these days. Like, it is what it is, right? The match itself, okay. What do you think?
It felt okay. I don't know whether I'm right to say it from my description, but it felt like kind of like almost like an extended squash, except for like the last few moments.
Yeah.
It felt like it was really more of Roman Reigns toying with John Cena for most of the match.
I think that's the whole point, right? He wanted to come back just to put over Roman Reigns. And once again, he is such a company man. You have to respect him that he's not going to come back and just lose. But there's the verbal jousting, there's the vibe and everything. And ultimately, he did lose, but I think he really put over Roman Reigns hard. He's at that point.
Does this make Cena look like a chump though? Like he was talking so much shit, talking up this match so much, and then to just be like owned in the ring. I
think maybe he's reached that stage where he's okay, he's bulletproof in that way. People will cheer for him no matter what. Div says so many roll-ups. Wow, that was, I thought, a nice touch because of the whole 1, 2, 3, that whole angle that they were going for. It's like, it just takes 3 seconds. Dun, dun, dun.
That's what they did at the beginning of the match as well, right?
Yeah.
They were teasing a lot of roll-ups.
Yeah, then after that, Reigns basically kicked out of everything lah. AA on the table, rope AA. So they're really, really putting over him as this unstoppable beast. Without the Usos, remember he sent the Usos back right at the start. So it's like no shenanigans, beats him clean. And he's done this before. Remember Brock? When Brock just destroyed him?
Yeah, but the 2014 one was a very visceral thing. This one was more like a drawn out. Yeah. It was like a very slow death.
But isn't that
scene.
Roman Reigns' whole MO? Everything of his is very slow, very dragged out lah to the as we call ASMR Roman Reigns. Just like everything must stop, must slow, must verbalize, telling a story.
I enjoy when he like call out to the Hollywood executives. He's like, I apologize. I'm gonna send him back.
I'm gonna wreck his face. I like the thing is because earlier on we watched Edge and Seth Rollins, so that was like the technical like great match. This is more of the acting match, as it were.
Yeah, it was great. It was good as it is, like taken that in just that context. But what I found very interesting was that it's almost as if like John Cena was in Mortal Kombat terms, right? He was the Shang Soul of this situation. Like, if you're going up the Mortal Kombat tower, Like I thought he was like the main evil boss, but it seems as if like WWE has this hierarchy of like, okay, because previously Roman Reigns beat Edge, a legend, right? And then after at the end of that match, kena interrupted by John Cena, a bigger legend.
Yeah.
So it's like he's working his way up the ladder. Then I thought, okay lah, you already defeat John Cena. Who else is next? Huh? Who else can be bigger than John Cena? And then
Dun, 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 dun. Viking Brock is back.
fresh from butchering meat.
Yeah, with his like kick-ass top knot ponytail thing.
What do you think of that look, bro?
Oh, he looks amazing. And obviously he's coming back as a face. And kudos to Paul Heyman. Because do you see Paul Heyman's face? He looked like he really did see a ghost. Like,
He looked like he kena caught having sex with the best friend.
So, yeah, exactly, right? And we all know that he used to be the advocate for Brock. So this is obviously a very interesting storyline moving forward.
Yeah. You know what's very interesting about the Viking look, right? Do you remember probably, I think it was Chris Jericho on his podcast or saying something along the lines of when Vince first saw Brock, he was like orgasming all over him and saying like, oh my God, look at that Viking. He looks like a Viking. And like he really has become that look.
And he even freaking tried out for the Minnesota Vikings. He's from Minnesota, so it all fits. Everyone's like, Paul Heyman on a pole match or custody for a Paul Heyman match. Let's go. That's hilarious. I mean,
okay,
Fox.
But my question, is Brock gonna be the face?
Yeah, in this case he is.
Face?
Yeah, he has to be. He's the returning hero. He's a bit more smiley as well. Roman Reigns is such a strong heel. There's no way he can be the face, right?
But did you see what happened outside of SummerSlam, like after the camera stopped rolling to John Cena?
He beat up. No, see, that stuff not canon. That is just to pop the audience. You know what I mean? Just to give, like, show them, hey, I still can do the German suplex F5, all that kind of stuff. And Cena probably was like, yeah, sure, why not? He wanted to mess around with that.
It's like Brock Lesnar's gonna be Brock Lesnar. You can't take the Brock Lesnar beast out of him.
Yeah, and I think someone like Brock Lesnar transcends face or heel. He's just gonna do what he does. He's just gonna be portrayed slightly more towards face, but he's still gonna be a beast lah and come in and destroy people.
Yeah, of course.
He's not the type of guy who will need henchmen or like shenanigans. He would just go. He's always been presented as that guy to go in there and destroy. So yeah.
Dude, but where does this lead to? Like Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, is this gonna be the next pay-per-view? Are they gonna stretch it out all the way until
Crown Jewel?
No, Crown Jewel, are you sure?
Actually, the money they make, from what I'm told, right? They make a lot of money from the Crown Jewel shows. Maybe Brock is like, yeah, give me that motherfucking payday. Give me that dollar bills. You know? I fly there, I do this big high-profile match, and I go back to chopping meat and shooting deer with an arrow.
What do you say to people who say like, oh, we've seen this before, oh, it's Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar again? What do you say to people who have that criticism?
I say that this is the next level Roman Reigns. It's fully formed Roman Reigns, and that is what is going to make it so interesting. Plus, let's not forget, Finn Balor is somewhere in the mix.
Okay, so it's like a different iteration of both of them. So it's not really the exact same thing that we're seeing.
And going back to what I said a couple of weeks ago, my worry here is that now, okay, John Cena's program is over, right? Now they will go back to Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns on SmackDown when Brock Lesnar's not there. And then when he once in a while makes an appearance, that's the main feud. But the Finn Balor will be the sub feud. Yeah, when Brock is not around.
And the thing is, Finn Balor did say something on Talking Smack. Do you see he cut a promo? He's saying that he's not smiling anymore. Yeah, he is gonna be a vulture waiting to see who wins against Cena and Roman. And I want to keep Finn at that main event level because I think he deserves to be there.
Yeah, in terms of where this goes, I think maybe we can go all the way to Survivor Series with this. You know? That would be a huge event, right? A Royal Rumble. I mean, but okay. So does this mean though? Just looking way forward, let's not spend too much time here because you know there are lots of weeks.
Yeah, we gotta move on to take over, guys.
Yeah, that and plus this could stretch out. We don't know like the length of his contract, right? But does Roman go over at the end?
They have to, man. If they want to keep building new stars.
Yeah, and then if that's the case, you know, going on your like, oh, you defeat one boss, you move on to the next boss. The Rock at WrestleMania. That's always the goal, right?
It all makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait. Scully, bro, WrestleMania, Hulk Hogan, brother.
He come back from the dead. Oh, he's not dead yet.
No.
Yeah, but I get what you mean.
Wait, has Roman Reigns fought with Goldberg yet?
Oh no, he never. Remember, because the match got cancelled.
Goldberg versus Roman Reigns.
You're telling me Goldberg is the biggest legend that they have? Oh, come on.
Hopefully.
Or Roman Reigns is the one to take Goldberg out to pasture lah.
There have been a lot of people who have taken him out, beat him already. So, like,
I don't know.
you know, WWE 3 years down the road, they're like, what if we brought back Goldberg? Oh, just don't bring him back for in-ring stuff ever.
You know what
again.
I think WWE is actually putting Goldberg in the Undertaker role, as weird as it sounds. He's like the bona fide legend that can draw in their eyes lah.
In their eyes, yeah. Roman wrestles himself. Yeah, he gets so powerful. He's like he by himself in the ring and he starts talking to himself and throws himself down.
Oh dear gosh.
Chokes himself. Okay, let's move on then. Before we do, best match, I think is an easy one.
Seth Rollins' Edge.
Yep, I agree, 100%. Chat, please feel free to jump in. Best match of SummerSlam by far. Let's move on to this morning, and I was a lot more hyped for this morning actually, especially coming off of SummerSlam, right? NXT TakeOver 36.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta preface this by saying that I bought most of it because I wasn't able to look at it. Work day, guys. But one thing I saw from the social media reactions is it did feel like everyone was keep talking about it. It's like gonna be an end of an era. It's like the end of an era. So do you get the vibes watching it live?
First of all, they did it at the CWC, right? The Performance Center, essentially. And no special decorations, no sets. It looked like an episode of NXT, which says to me like, oh, okay, this is how it's gonna be, right? It no longer is TakeOver at like a big arena, anything like that. I don't know if this is one of many that they'll do like this, but I have a feeling that's how it's gonna be from now on.
Okay, so they're scaling it down.
Scaling it way down. I was reading about how, their contract with Full Sail has ended as well. So all their broadcasting, all their stuff will be at the Performance Center. This is literally the Performance Center show, right? And the set is going to be revamped to make it brighter, remove the plexiglass. Because right now the criticism is that it's too dark. They want to make it brighter, make it look more happening.
But WWE and NXT have different vibes. Like NXT being dark and gritty is what makes it cool,
bro.
Like an underground vibe.
We've talked about this before and we agree, but that's where NXT went wayward. Remember, at the end of the day, to them, NXT is supposed to be their developmental and not a totally different brand. So, and I feel like this makes sense. I'm not saying that I like it. I'm saying this makes sense in where they are going. NXT is supposed to be the developmental for main roster, correct? So everything about NXT, I'm sure is going to go away. It's going to be very main roster looking, as in the bright colors and the larger than life stuff, but in a scaled down way. Yeah,
and like I mentioned at the start of the podcast, you guys should all take the time to check out the interview that Ariel Helwani, the MMA journalist, did with Nick Khan, because this is one of the first few public interviews that he's done. And he essentially, the quote that a lot of people are taking and putting it out there is that Nick Khan essentially say that they are no longer going to be signing indie stars. They're trying to create a system where it's easy for anyone who wants to try wrestling to go into, but not everyone can be chosen. So they want to make it like NFL. Like when you want to go to NFL, anyone can train, be put in the system and get the opportunity, but whether they get chosen is entirely up to them. So they want to create their own homegrown stars lah.
Yeah,
basically.
Which, like we said, is an end of an era for NXT, because NXT used to be that gritty place where the indie guys can show up and if in a way to teach the young stars. But then now you're having these young stars going into main roster with an indie mindset, and they have to unlearn that. Keith Lee, Dijakovic, that kind of stuff. So I guess in their corporate structure, it makes sense. Once again, I'm not a fan of it, but it makes sense, right? So here we go then. We start off the night with Cameron Grimes to the moon versus LA Knight for the $1 Million Championship. It was a fun back and forth kind of match, you know. Just a little bit of shenanigans, easy for me to say, shenanigans with Ted DiBiase at the end. I thought this was a really good way to start the night off.
What was the vibe with regards to like the atmosphere when they kicked off the match?
It was fun. It just seemed like, and this is my big issue with it, it seemed like an episode of NXT. NXT fans are always going to cheer. They are going to be rowdy and loud, right?
Yeah.
Because they are diehard fans. So it because it wasn't in an arena, you can't get that huge mega pop or anything like that. It just felt like an episode, just a longer episode of NXT. Cameron Grimes won, as he should have. I think that whole program, you know, ran its course. He wins the $1 Million Championship. LA Knight, surprisingly, was good. Like, he put on a good show in there. I feel like he is that kind of guy that needs to be in there with somebody who's over.
You know, he won't be the over guy. He'll be working with the over guy.
Yeah. So I don't know where this leaves LA Knight. This definitely leaves Cameron Grimes at a higher position than he was before. But like we talked about before, like even without the $1 Million Championship, he would have succeeded.
Yeah, and the problem is LA Knight seems to be defined by that $1 Million Championship, because I don't think there's much more to his character. Like, LA Knight is a dime a dozen. Like, you get him everywhere in NXT, but then no one is like Cameron Grimes. That's the thing.
Like, and even down to the look, right? Like, these jacked up bodybuilder types, they are everywhere. But you get one like hairy southern guy wearing jackets with no shirt. Like, he immediately stands out, and he's an interesting character. So, definitely to the moon for Cameron Grimes. I'm just a little bit like, okay, I don't know where LA Knight is gonna go.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of LA Knight, to be honest.
Neither am I.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Like I said though, this match was probably better and had more stakes than most of the matches on SummerSlam.
Of course, it's NXT, so you can still trust NXT's booking at least.
Next up, we have the Kodakai versus Raquel Gonzalez, the NXT Women's Championship match. You know, I have been a bit like, when it comes to Dakota and Raquel, right, in terms of their in-ring work and whatever. But this match actually won me over.
Really? Like, won you over with the Kodakai?
Yeah, both of them, actually. I think the Kodakai just lacks the personality or the big personality to pull off whatever she's trying to pull off, right? So this match was essentially power versus skill and quickness, and it was surprisingly very competitive. It wasn't a one-sided squash, which everyone thought, okay, Raquel is going to go in there and just smash the Kodakai, right?
So the Kodakai kind of like used her experience, the fact that she knew Raquel Gonzalez like against her in a way.
Yeah. And okay, not so much playing up the they were friends. It's just playing up the fact that she's a faster wrestler, so she uses a lot of like tricky moves. Like, if you watch the match, you'll know what I'm saying. They told a very good story. This is one of those matches where even if you didn't know the backstory, and to be honest, their backstory is not that strong anyway. Right?
Okay, not that flimsy. Yeah.
It's just friends turning on each other. That's it. This is not Shawn Michaels Diesel. As much as everyone can see the connections, that feud was on a different level. This one was just, all right, it was a cool setup and everything. Cool finish. The Chingano or Chingana bomb, whatever the hell she calls it, off the second rope, and Gonzalez wins. To be expected. The big return at the end of the match, though, was the surprise, I guess. And the crowd was buying it. So Kaylee Ray from NXT UK shows up. And
Kaylee Ray, did she just come off a program on NXT UK or anything?
I don't know. I don't really follow NXT UK. But, you know, there was that stare down from the ramp, and that's it. We cut there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Kaylee Ray was a former NXT UK champion. And
for a very long time.
Yeah, so I think what's good about NXT in its current setup is that, if you're going to make like territories out of NXT UK, NXT Asia, whatever it is, and then they get the talent, draft them over to the main NXT show, I still think that works as a concept. So
they still have that cool element of, you know, being able to pull talent back and forth, that kind of thing lah. As opposed to, you know, just being an indie company. Let's move on to the best match of the entire weekend. And maybe it's just the old school guy in me, but Ilya Dragunov versus Walter for the NXT UK Championship. Like I said, I don't watch NXT UK. All I have to go with are the vignettes, his promos on NXT leading up to this, and the match itself. And oh my god, the match itself was brutal. It was intense. And this goes back to the acting, right? We know that they are not trying to hurt each other, but you look at every single move. It was not fancy. There was no triple flips, flying jalapenos. All right, it was just they're just chopping each other in the neck, in the thigh, in the tete. Just chop the back, just chop everywhere, and it just looked brutal. And that's what is wrestling at the end of the day. It is a simulation of a fight, and in a real fight, nobody's going to do a flying jalapeno, right?
The best way to simulate a real fight is to actually beat the shit out of someone.
Yeah, and nothing in this match. Okay, there were maybe one or two moves that felt a bit like fancy, but everything was very just not extra, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so they were economical with their moves. They use what really matters, right?
Yes.
That's the best way to describe
it. I don't know if you can hear this, but there's a plane flying by. Probably a post-NDP plane.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it doesn't really affect.
Okay.
It doesn't really affect, yeah.
Personally, I'm not a fan of Ilya's finisher, which is the Torpedo Moscow. It's a running headbutt. I think it's a dumb fuck move because you're just injuring your own neck, to be honest, but it is what it is. You know, and his whole gimmick is that he's this, well, I mean, he's essentially kind of like a Chris Benoit. Doesn't give up, super brutal, super like intense guy.
I've gotten that comparisons a lot. Like a lot of people keep saying like he's like Dynamite Kid, he's like Chris Benoit, almost like this rabbit character, very intense.
You know what this match was to me? It was like Wolverine versus the Hulk.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's interesting.
The Hulk is smashing down Wolverine, but Wolverine keeps healing and getting back up. Like if you want to look at this from a comic book point of view, this is Hulk versus Wolverine. Like Wolverine will not give up. Like if you see like the pictures, Dragunov has blood blisters all over his chest, his back. So I think Walter just laid it in. He's probably like, just whack.
Yeah, and I think the Walter is almost as if he's developed this reputation where people are scared to work with him, because they know what to expect. Yeah. Like when you're gonna be Walter, it's gonna be a very long day in the office.
You have to be like, I mean, it's probably one of those like give and take situations too, like, you know, Walter is selling for Ilya Dragunov as well, and the finish was like, see, this is my thing about how you don't need a fancy friggin' bullshit move, triple somersault nonsense, right? The finish was essentially Ilya got the sleeper on Walter. Walter wouldn't go out. He let go, elbow the back, sleeper. Still won't let go, elbow the back some more, sleeper, until he fucking gave up.
And that's the thing that was so interesting about it, man. Like it was surprising that he submitted.
He tapped, yeah, right? I mean, obviously it's to put over Ilya in a huge way. Like even the mighty Walter couldn't stand up to it. But you see, here's the thing. Like, I'm glad they went that way. Because if he lost to a flying headbutt, I'd be like, to me, it's not realistic. To me, if somebody is mounting you from the back, elbowing you in the back of the neck, and you see, like, if you go and do that move like Karrion Kross's finisher, for example, the running thing to the back, which looks weak as shit, right? Because you don't want to hurt the other guy. Versus, he's just like multiple shots, and if you cut enough angles, you can't really tell if he's hitting him or not. It looks like a brutal, like, oh my god, he's really like, destroying. And you talk about a world now in 2021 where most of us probably watch MMA as well. Like, it looks like a legit fight. And at the end of the day, what is wrestling? It is the performance of a fight.
Yeah. If they can take us, like, don't take us out of that moment and make us believe, right? Suspend our disbelief. And I think that's great. But the problem is, I don't know whether it's a problem, but it legitimately looks like both of them are beating the hell out of each other. So that's why it's almost like, oh shit, I believe it. But then, oh my god, is this too real? Are they really being safe?
Yeah.
So that's the illusion that is great, lah.
Yeah. Jason said Walter versus Ciampa finished with a brutal chop to the chest. I remember that, and I remember saying I freaking enjoyed that match as well. Like you said though, maybe there are only so few people who can work with Walter, so maybe that might be his problem. But I can legitimately see him on the main roster with guys like Cesaro chopping the fuck out of each other, or him versus Seth Rollins, you know?
Walter versus Roman Reigns. I think maybe Walter is the only unstoppable person left. Huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, he just got stopped by Ilya, so it is what it is, right? But to me, hands down, this was, as far as a wrestling match is concerned, this was my favorite because of the story it told.
Do you think that now that I guess Walter's finishing up in NXT UK, he's actually going over to Orlando and being a full-time NXT wrestler?
I hope so. So now Ilya will, carry the banner for your NXT UK, right? And Walter will just, be that dominant. Maybe Walter versus Samoa Joe.
I just thought of that too. I just thought like, holy crap, what if that is where they're going with?
How did I not realize that? Okay, we'll get that in a bit. Let's move on then. Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole. Bro.
What?
Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, you see that?
Sorry.
That
Bro,
whole
Undisputed Era, the song so long already, I haven't played. I already forget it.
Yeah, it's gone. This is supposed to be his handshake deal, right? Because he's out of contract already. Unfortunately, I think that because Ilya versus Walter was such a brutal, high intensity match, this match felt a bit of a letdown. Somewhat, it was a 2 out of 3 falls, and there was a cage and everything. So, okay, quick pace early. Kyle O'Reilly actually scored a very quick pinfall win, stacking him after he countered the Panama Sunrise. So they are going along the story of, a traditional match is my strength. I would beat you in a traditional match. And then, of course, Adam Cole has to come back and beat him in a street fight. Now, what is really irritating to me is there was no street in the fight, okay?
It was just a fight.
Yeah, I hate it when they call it a street fight, but you have to pin in the ring. What the fuck is that? No. If you are gonna do that, just call it a hardcore match, or call it an unsanctioned match, or a no holds barred match, right? A street fight implies that you will be fighting to the back.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I was expecting it to be that kind of very brutal fight around the arena, go out at the backstage kind of segment. But yeah, they kept it in the ring.
I don't know if it's just me being old fashioned or what, but the wording of it just pissed me off. It's like there was none of that street fighting. Remember back in the Attitude Day, street fight would literally be Steve Blackman and Al Snow. Fucker got nunchucks. They're whacking each other in the streets, throwing each other through tables and doors and shit. That's what I think when I think of a street fight.
I think of getting thrown over to the backstage segment, parking lot,
throw into the river, some shit like that, right? Yeah, or a no DQ match, but maybe no DQ doesn't sound quite as cool as street fight. Like I said, if you're gonna say street fight, at least go to the backstage area, fight a bit, and then come back in.
Yeah. That was was it the longest portion of the match? Because I thought that was slightly longer than the steel cage part.
The first one was a quick roll up, like I said. Second one, Kyle took this ridiculous bump off the top rope onto chairs, but the chairs weren't flat; they were standing up. So I'm like, fuck. Like, why, bro? Why? Don't do that shit. Come on now. The third fall, and this was pretty cool. I don't know if they've been doing this or what, but the steel cage, you know how they always set up the steel cage already? They just lower it?
Yeah.
This one, the steel cage actually opened up. So it closed down. And as it was lowering down, as it closed down, there was a trash can from the hardcore match. And then it started crushing the trash bin, and
holy crap!
One of the ringside guys was like, "Hey, shit, pull the thing." But
that wasn't intentional, right?
No, it was not intentional. It was by accident. But I thought it was quite
like
funny.
A cool visual though.
Yeah, it's like the trash bin started folding in half, like it was made of tin foil. Anyway, it's probably made of tin foil. Yeah. The steel cage match itself. I mean, did you manage to catch that match?
I just caught highlights of it, but I did see certain interesting segments that they did, like especially when they were battling at the top.
Yeah. I mean, there were cool moments. There weren't many crazy ass bumps. Like that chair bump was already to me the worst, right? But I think the crowd was expecting a lot more. I think everyone was expecting more because NXT has set a precedent with cage matches. like, you know.
Do you feel this is a situation where, because everybody know that Adam Cole's on the way out,
Yeah.
and that was tempering a lot of the emotions and the expectations?
I think so too. And I think like on Adam Cole's part, he's like, I'm leaving already. So why do I want to like put on some 5-star classic when I can just, you know, just keep myself safe and put on a decent match, right? And I feel like that's what it was. They are obviously trying to put over Kyle O'Reilly because maybe he's still staying, but Adam Cole is not. The finish was Kyle gets handcuffed to the cage. And I don't know who uses handcuffs where the chain is like CB long, but whatever, okay, right? Like, that makes no sense. Like, the chain was so long you could do fucking jump rope with those handcuffs, okay? That's how long it was. Anyway, he gets cuffed to the side of the cage. Adam Cole comes in to kick him in the face. He grabs the leg, slaps on the heel hook, gets the tap. With one arm, by the way, and the crowd was chanting bullshit.
I think so too. I saw that ending, and I have a feeling why the crowd chanted bullshit. It wasn't that definitive of an end.
Okay.
Especially the escalation, because they've escalated. They have how many matches really, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying this, I'm comparing it with how Gargano and Ciampa ended. The rivalry with Gargano and Ciampa. And do you remember Gargano and Ciampa had so much emotion?
Yeah.
There was like the crutch, the crutch spot, and then they were crying, and then they apologized, blah blah blah, and then they got some crazy twist by Candice LeRae.
Yeah, bro. At the end of the day, you're talking about Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. In this case, you have Adam Cole, who is on their level, and Kyle O'Reilly. And we've talked about this before. In terms of character work, Kyle O'Reilly is not there. That's why that was the missing piece. That's why this feud felt a little bit off, because the other side of the feud was not compelling.
Yeah. Kyle O'Reilly could match up in terms of an in-ring point of view.
Yeah.
But in terms of the storytelling, no.
No,
not there.
Yeah, he's not there. And that's why this whole thing felt weird. And yeah, I'm sure the crowd was expecting like a big, like, you know, the whole cage collapse or some NXT bullshit lah, you know, like over the top stuff.
Yeah.
And to have it end on a heel hook while the dude is, no, actually, sorry, I did this, right? But actually he only did this one-handed heel hook with the other hand locked to the cage. Was a bit of a what?
I got a question for you. How often did they chant NXT, NXT? NXT.
Not a lot. Not a lot, actually.
If this was gonna be like the so-called finale of NXT of this era, it kind of ended on a dud.
Well, to be fair, they had NXT UK. They had Ilya versus Walter. So like I said, that one was the peak. The show was like a mountain, right? It went up, peaked at Ilya versus Walter, and then just came down. It's like very obvious pattern. And that leads us to our main event of the evening. And yes, I will say that as much as I love the fact that Samoa Joe is back, this match was all right. It wasn't anything fantastic. Karrion Kross is still boring as fuck. Now he comes out with no Scarlett, making him even less compelling.
Really, where is Scarlett though?
I don't know. Is she injured? I don't know how she injured herself. Just doing her, you know, her thing. Maybe she threw her back out, whatever. Is she training? Maybe like, did she get injured in training?
I don't know whether WWE made like a conscious effort to separate both of them so that she can train for the ring. That could be another possible situation.
Guess what? It makes Karrion Kross look like the most bland mofo ever. Just another bald guy.
She is essentially Mark Mero at this point.
So he hit the Doomsday Saito right at the top of the match, like the finishing sequence right at the start, and then Samoa Joe goes to the side of the ring so he can't get the pin, blah blah blah. Samoa Joe looked a step slow, I will say. He hit the Muscle Buster though, which is surprising. He brought it back. It's
quite rare, right? He brought it back up. I thought they took it away because it was unsafe.
Yeah, but I guess they're like, fuck it, just bring it back one more time. It was just a very... Yeah, to me it was a back and forth match, but it was a slow plodding match and I felt nothing from it. Like, I don't know why. Maybe it was because Karrion Kross is not compelling at this point. And, you know, there's only so much you can go on.
They brought back the Muscle Buster so that they just can kill off Karrion Kross. Like if he dies, also doesn't matter.
Yeah, like, or maybe to just get a pop, right? Like, he did it. And yeah, he hits the muscle buster for the win. AEW champion is Samoa Joe, which leads us to something very exciting. We just figured out Samoa Joe versus Walter.
You said AEW champion.
Oh, did I say AEW? I meant NXT.
Yes.
I have AEW on the. Oh, I did a Jim Ross.
No, it's okay, brother. It's okay. But yeah, you're right. I believe that the potential of a Walter versus Samoa Joe is the thing that is exciting most people, not the match itself.
Oh no, I think the match itself will be amazing. Like, as in, they will go to war with each other. They just slap each other.
What I meant is like this match. The only thing exciting about this match is the outcome, knowing that it's gonna be Walter versus Samoa Joe, but potentially.
I think a lot of people thought that, you know, because this is the NXT swan song, right? Oh, they're gonna like have a brutal match. It was not. You know, like the brutal match
like
was.
A dud.
Yeah, it really felt like a dud. Like a returning guy who's really not at 100% versus a guy who was never top tier, who never reached the potential that he could have.
You know how some people from NXT, when they make the transition to the main roster, the momentum, they're on fire in NXT. So they have the initial potential and like excitement from being in NXT when they get hot-shotted to the main roster. But it's almost as if the extinguishing flame already is died out in NXT.
Bro,
so Karrion Kross...
What? Like I said, even before he went over to the main roster, he was already like not working as the champion. You know, it was not compelling. Yeah. And then he goes to the main roster, loses to Keith Lee. Loses to Jeff Hardy, and then he lost to Keith Lee as well. And good luck to you, bro. Good luck in the mid card.
The point I'm saying is, I've never seen a guy coming from NXT to Raw or SmackDown with the least amount of momentum, because everyone from the NXT at least have some momentum going.
He had no momentum, and then that's probably the main roster writers like justification. See, he's a star on NXT, but you come here, nobody know him. No. I think that he just doesn't have it yet. He hasn't reached that next level, and Scarlett was just the smoke show, the distraction, you know, to make him more than he is. And without Scarlett, he's like, all the flaws are being like highlighted.
Could it be actually a decision by WWE's management, like, okay, maybe we should remove Scarlett so that we can really see whether he can step up to the plate?
Poor guy. There was Div Royalty says there was something about Scarlett not being cleared, but like she
from doing what?
Dancing. She got a dancing injury? Or she doesn't even really dance. She just kind of like writhes around.
Segues around. I don't know.
Okay lah. Have her do less of the writhing and just like stand there and just point. Fall and pray. Whatever fun. You like my Scarlett?
The new coming of Sensational Sherry.
Okay, so a bit of a I wouldn't say a letdown, but a soft finish to NXT. I was in my mind hoping like, will somebody else come out and challenge just to get like a cool moment, but then there was nothing. It was just, okay, Samoa Joe, he's the champion, go off air.
How will you grade this NXT TakeOver? And people in the chat, please tell us like what is your rating as well?
Yeah, I would give it a solid 7.5, maybe even an 8. Just for match quality alone. Like, each match told a good story versus SummerSlam, there was a bunch of crap and filler and bullshit, you know?
Yeah. Takeovers, like, we always put takeovers to a high standard, right? Based on what we've seen.
Yeah.
But I think with all the uncertainty surrounding this takeover, what it means with NXT going forward, I think that really affected the vibe of the show. Because I really felt like when I was watching this show, right, it really felt like watching with WCW in 2001. Like, you know that things are ending. That there's this a bit of pessimism that permeated. It didn't come from me, like, I know the fans are watching, they know what's going on, but like seeing the show, the people, how they were reacting, especially the audience there, it's like they also know and they were not being excited about it.
And also, it's a takeover, but they're doing it in the CWC, so there's no special event feel at all. Yeah, it's just like we said right at the start, it was an extended edition of NXT, and the next few episodes of NXT are all taped, so it's like, that live vibe is no longer there. There's it's just sad. And you know why the next few episodes of NXT are taped, right?
Because they're gonna do the revamp after that.
Yeah, they're doing renovations to the Performance Center or the CWC. So in a few weeks, maybe, I don't know, in a month or whatever, we'll see a brand new vibe for NXT. And well, we'll have to wait and see.
Are you?
Not really. I'm actually very scared that USA is going to be like, all right, fuck this shit. We're pulling this off TV. And USA have to be super pissed off right now. USA gets Goldberg. Fox gets Cena, Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch. Fox is getting all the stars on SmackDown. USA is getting Oldberg and Gageberg.
Okay lah, got Team RK, bro.
Yeah, right.
But yeah lah, I understand it's a bit pessimistic on their side.
Okay.
But if they were to take out NXT, I honestly think it's not that bad of a decision because NXT did perform well when it was on the WWE network.
Yeah, and if they have an internet show, they can try things that may not work on TV, right? So Div Royalty brought up an interesting point. What was up with Legado del Fantasma cutting a promo during TakeOver? They could have had their match. Exactly. You know why? Because they're going to have their match on NXT TV. At least, this is what gives me hope. The fact that you have your Legado del Fantasmas, you have your, what's his faces?
Hit Row?
Hit Row. The young kids who are the champs, MSK, who had a really, really good match last week on NXT. So all your young talent, they are there. They are the next batch, and it looks good. Like Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis as well.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Like they have the great supporting cast, but who's gonna be the main guy?
Samoa Joe.
After Samoa,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Samoa Joe is the old veteran guy, but who's gonna be the main face, like the one holding it down, the one who's going to lead them into the next generation of NXT talents?
Well, they have to be built up lah. I don't think it's going to be Gargano or Ciampa because they are the veterans at this point, right? So your Austin Theories, they need to be groomed. They need to get there, right? Indy Hartwell,
Kushida. I know,
bro. Kushida main event for life.
I know who.
Frankie Monet. Who?
Sean Tan, bro.
Sean Tan.
She is the hope.
He is our diamond that's being built right now. You know, the coal that gets compressed into a diamond. Not diamond mine, not diamond mine. Actual diamond mine. Fuck off.
He is my country.
He is our flag.
My friend.
He is the future of NXT.
We'll come out with more angles for Sean Tan. I mean, if nothing else, we still have that to follow on NXT, right?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a while, you know. He's still training, obviously, right? But here's hoping that we won't see the indie stuff anymore, which could be a good thing because guess what? You just tune in to AEW for that, and that's maybe in a way they were like, okay lah, there's NXT. Let people go and watch the indie stuff on NXT lah. We just focus on our product, and our product is mainstream casual fan stuff. Everything is big and bright, and everything looks good. Like there's an audience for Disney movies, and there's an audience for indie movies. And Disney movies will always make the most money, and that's what the WWE is. So why are we focusing our efforts on making indie movies? If you think about it that way, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Maybe they're looking at the big picture. And if you think about it, actually maybe Vince McMahon likes the fact that AEW is around. Because there's also a ready-made talent pool potentially that they can buy off of.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways too, it's great for the industry because people are not like, we can't pay you anymore. They can't make a living. No, there's this other big company. Who's
to say 10 years from now, MJF goes to WWE and it's a ready-made star MJF?
Oh, yeah, and that would be the huge, when the first AEW star jumps ship, that will be exciting for WWE fans.
Yeah, because if you think about it, a lot of WWE main eventers back in the day all got their start in WCW also. So Mick Foley, Undertaker, Stone Cold.
Bro, in 30 years time, we'll be doing the podcast, the the Monday Night Wars or the whatever other wars or the death of AEW or, knock on wood, the death of WWE. Oh, bro. Exciting
Bro,
times.
30 years from now, you'll be JR and I'll be Excalibur, right?
Oh, fuck. Fuck off, yeah. No, you be Tony Schiavone. Hey, actually, you know how NXT is taped now, right? Too bad AEW, Dynamite, and NXT are not on the same card. Then, if they were, Tony Schiavone can give away the results like he used to do in WCW.
Don't turn on to the other channel.
Yeah,
Who cares?
Yeah, the Mankind wins their
What?
title. Big deal.
Austin Theory is going to win the NXT title. Oh, that will put butts in seats.
Can you imagine if they did that? That would be hilarious.
Oh, dear God. That's funny.
Because they love their throwbacks also, right? So they'll put butts in seats.
Essentially, this is WCW and WWE reincarnated
Yeah.
for the current era.
Yes and no. Like AEW has more like indie vibes, than WCW. WCW was still more of a copy, like a WWE light at first, and then after that, when they started incorporating all the different things, then they had their own vibe, and then they were copying each other. But in this current iteration,
Let me put a positive spin on this, right? When you bring up that point, how about looking at it from the point of view that, okay, if WWE is going to double down on their homegrown talents to go in the WWE style, and then AEW is going to double down on, like, we're going to promote the indies and all that kind of stuff, then you have two distinct, really different wrestling products.
Yeah.
You can't say they can't copy each other, what?
yeah, no, and it's good for business at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, that's the best.
There will always be some indie influence in WWE. There will always be some. So it's just like, it's percentages. You know what I mean? Like WWE will be 80% like, the mainstream stuff and 20% indie stuff. Whereas AEW is 80% indie stuff, or maybe 70% indie stuff and 30%. So it's just a balancing act between the two.
Yeah.
And
I do believe that if AEW performs really well, it will push WWE to be better.
yeah,
Whether they want to admit it or not.
competition is always good lah. The best era in pro wrestling came because of WCW, because of NWO. And now that CM Punk, Chris Jericho,
Potentially Daniel Bryan.
potentially, yes, and Malachi Black. You notice I haven't said Cody Rhodes. Kenny Omega. I will say the Young Bucks because I'm enjoying their work in the Elite. They are such despisable heels.
Yeah, and also honestly, I'm actually really, really impressed by the young talent. People like 2.0 actually is really impressing me when they had a match with Darby and Sting.
2.0 remind me of who? They have definitely taken inspiration from this classic tag team.
Rock and Roll? Midnight Express?
Anybody know? Because the one guy, the way he even speaks, the way he promos, I'm like, oh my god, this makes sense.
New Age Outlaws?
No. The next time you watch their promo, you notice, doesn't the one guy with the square head, his promo style is Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And the other guy is slightly more quiet, is the Bret Hart. It's the Hart Foundation.
Really?
You watch, I cannot not see the Hart Foundation in them.
But the guy, he's not that big or as like Jim Anvil, it's just the style.
But the way he talks, like his mannerisms, like you must have been grown up watching a lot of Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Ever Rise 2.0. Or Ever 2.0.
Very interesting observation. And also, I think I like that they are not only paying homage to the old school, because you can definitely see a lot of throwbacks wherever you see a wrestler in AEW. But definitely, yes, they also pay homage to like their current era. And okay, I want to wrap this up because we started with CM Punk and then I want to end with one thing that CM Punk said. He was talking about how in the scrum, he said like the high tides rises all boats, right? So if he was to create this change or this impact on the current wrestling product, it benefits not only just the wrestlers, it benefits the community around. It benefits us. We got reason to talk and come on the podcast and talk about shows, and people will be interested in what we have to talk because of the subject matter, right? So it's great because you don't want it to be boring. Like I remember last year it was such a slog to even do the podcast because there was nothing to talk about on the surface of it.
So there was a pandemic and everything, but I know what you're saying, lah. Anytime there is a buzz everybody involved in the pro wrestling world will benefit from it. And now's the best time to be a pro wrestling fan. Coming off of the pandemic and finally getting back into live shows, audiences are chomping at the bit to get back. So gates will be higher, attendance records will break, I'm sure. We'll have Crown Jewel.
Okay, that's a very random segue, but sure.
And the fans win. We get to see Sunberg and Oldberg again. Like, my God, man, it's a good time.
Yeah.
The only show I don't look forward to watching these days is Raw, and now even more so because of Sunberg and Oldberg.
Raw needs a injection of what
Poison.
was
the
of
NWO. Oh, good Lord. No. Okay, so that wraps up this weekend. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed your pro wrestling weekend. You know, whether you hate it or love it, it's content, and it will elicit an emotion out of you no matter what. And that's the beauty of pro wrestling. And that's what we respect about these men and women who do what they do, right?
I don't blame you guys if you need like a short break from wrestling after this week. Please do.
Yeah.
Please calm yourself down. And hopefully by next week we have new things to talk about.
Oh,
and we're gonna move forward.
We certainly will. As always, if in case you just came on and you missed the bulk of what we said, you can check out the video on YouTube. You can check out the audio podcast, Kick to the Gut. Just look for us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Yeah, man, guys. Please, guys, like and subscribe. Thank you, guys, for getting us to 500 followers on Instagram already, which we were aiming for at that point in time. Please get us to 100 subscribers here on YouTube. Slow and steady.
Absolutely.
Reach, right?
Anytime you want, slide into our DMs. We're happy to talk wrestling with you guys. And we'll see you again next week. Next Monday, we'll be back for more Kick to the Gut action. More CM Punk. I don't know about that. I'm sure he'll make headlines. We shall see though. As always, it's Mr. Young.
And it's Ford in the building. CM Punk.
Hey, relax. You want ice cream and I get you free ice cream.
No, I'm hungry.